Chapter 201. Before Xiaoqing opened the door, she was helping in the kitchen. Now that Lan Ling was here, Lan Ling also took the initiative to help. This gave Xiaoqing an opportunity to inquire about Yang Ming's background. Ling Ling, so you and Yang Ming knew each other when you were in Tingchong? Xiaoqing was surprised when she heard about Lan Ling's background. Yeah, later. I followed him to Songjiang. Even though Lan Ling was bold in front of Yang Ming, she was still embarrassed in front of outsiders. Xiaoqing sorted out the information she got. Now she only knew that Yang Ming was born in an ordinary worker's family. After the college entrance examination, he went to Tingchong with Zhang Bin and gambled some stones. That was the general information. Xiaoqing didn't think there was anything special. During the meal, Lu Weishan formally introduced Xiaoqing to Yang Ming. Yang Ming, this is my adopted daughter, Xiaoqing. She is also working at Songjiang Industry University. She teaches the Java language. You are studying computer science. She may teach you in the future. Elder Lu, in fact, Sister Xiaoqing and I have known each other for a long time. Yang Ming talked about the incident on the bus. So there is such a coincidence. Qing, you should take care of Yang Ming in school in the future. Lu Weishan said happily. I know. I will. Xiaoqing nodded and replied with a smile. After the meal, Lu Weishan called Yang Ming to the study room. Then he took out a box from the bookcase and said to Yang Ming, your gift is too precious. I appreciate your kindness, but you should take back the thing. Yang Ming glanced at it. It was the imperial jade that he gave out. So he said, Elder Lu, I have already given you the gift. This imperial jade is not useful to me. I heard that you like to carve these to entertain yourself. You should accept it. Yang Ming, you are in need of money now. The market price of this piece of jade is at least 2 to 3 million yuan. I am an old man, what can I play with? Lu Weishan shook his head and smiled bitterly. You don't have to think that I helped you in any way. You have to repay me. I am a professor. Anyone who is interested in learning can become my student. Besides, I only gave you a few pointers. Mr. Lu, I really don't want to repay you. I just want to give you this piece of jade as a gift because I think it will be of the greatest use in your hands. Yang Ming said with a smile. Since you said so, then so be it. I play with jadeite because I enjoy the fun of carving. After I'm done carving, I'll give you the finished product. At that time, you can sell it for a better price. Lu Weishan couldn't hold on, so he said this. Yang Ming felt like he was reaping without sowing. During this period of time, Yang Ming also understood the market price of Lu Weishan's works through Zhang Jifang. Many people wanted to ask Lu Weishan to sculpt, but they couldn't find a way. Now, Mr. Lu actually proposed such a good condition. Okay, it's settled. I'm an old man. This thing is useless to me. Lu Weishan waved his hand and said. During the National Day holiday, Yang Ming had been using the method that Fang Tian taught him to train his strength. Yang Ming himself didn't feel that his strength had improved significantly. However, on the 7th day, when Yang Ming punched the trunk of the tree, he heard a ka-la sound. When his fist sank into the trunk, Yang Ming was shocked to find out that the internal meridians of the tree had been completely destroyed by him. Now, it was as soft as a sponge. It seemed that Fang Tian's method was very useful. Yang Ming didn't wait until night time. Instead, he went to find Fang Tian in the morning. He was very excited. It seemed that the weight of his punches and kicks had reached a certain level. Even if he didn't measure it, Yang Ming believed that his current punch was enough to break the enemy's ribs. You're here. Fang Tian was making dumplings. When he saw Yang Ming, he asked faintly. I'm here, Yang Ming replied. He found a sink to wash his hands and started to help Fong Tian make dumplings. It seems that you have completed the task that I gave you. Otherwise, I would have made dumplings for nothing. Fong Tian pinched a dumpling and put it on the side of the curtain. Exactly 7 days. Yang Ming smiled and said, I broke a tree. Okay, strength is enough. Fong Tian nodded with satisfaction and said, as an assassin, strength is secondary. The most important thing is technique. An assassin is different from a martial arts master. It's also different from those who do taekwondo and karate. Those people needed a long foundation and steady training step by step in order to become the best of the best. But an assassin is focused on killing people. In many cases, it's a fatal blow. Therefore, you must be clear about the vital parts of the human body. Next, I will explain to you in detail some of the fatal parts and acupuncture points on the human body. Okay, I will cook the dumplings first. Ha! Yang Ming listened to Fong Tian's 180-degree change and was not used to it. The previous sentence was about killing people, and the next sentence was about eating dumplings. This made Yang Ming shudder. He remembered a movie called Human Meat Barbecued Pork Bun. Fong Tian boiled the water. Then, he found a pile of paper under the stove that was used to ignite the fire. He took out a few pieces of paper and handed them to Yang Ming. These are the main acupuncture points of the human body. You should understand them first. I didn't go out to buy books these 2 days. But this thing doesn't matter. It's just a beginner's book. Fortunately, I didn't burn these pieces. Yang Ming sweated. This kind of thing can be used to start a fire. This old man Fong is really different from ordinary people. Yang Ming took the acupoint map and looked at it. This was no different from what Yang Ming saw in the Chinese medicine hospital. Yang Ming's memory was not bad. Before the meal, he roughly memorized the main acupuncture points. As for what these acupuncture points were for, it wasn't written on the map. Yang Ming didn't care. Some of the acupuncture points for men and women are slightly different, but they are not the main acupuncture points. It won't affect you much. Fong Tian threw the dumplings into the pot and closed the lid. The human body has a total of 409 acupuncture points, including the 361 acupuncture points on the 14 meridians and the 48 extra acupuncture points. Among them, there are 108 acupuncture points that will show obvious symptoms after being hit or tapped by external forces. Among these 108 acupuncture points, there are 36 major acupuncture points called death acupuncture points. If they are not treated in time after being tapped or hit, their lives will be in danger. As an assassin, you only need to understand these 36 acupuncture points. Because you are not a martial arts master, you don't need to learn how to tap acupuncture points. Now, I said, you can find them on the map. What you need to do now is to remember their positions. Yang Ming nodded and said, I understand. Then, he picked up a pen and prepared. Glabella acupuncture point, located between the eyebrows. Forehead acupuncture point, located 1 inch above the eyebrows. Temple acupuncture point, needless to say. Occipital acupuncture point, located above the occipital bone protuberance. Jian acupuncture point, located on both sides of the back of the head, behind the mastoid process, between the fubai and wengu. Huagai acupuncture point, the middle point of the sternum and sternum, 2 inches below the tienta acupuncture point. Yang Ming marked one by one on the map until Fong Tian finished describing the 36 acupuncture points. The next thing you need to do is to accurately recognize the acupuncture points. Take this map back and memorize the positions of these acupuncture points in 2 days. Fong Tian instructed. No need, I have memorized it now. Yang Ming's memory was outstanding. It was only 36 positions. It was much easier than memorizing the English words in the past. Not bad. Fong Tian nodded and praised, eat first. The dumplings are cooked. In a while, Dong Jun will get a dummy used in medical school. What you need to do is to quickly find the acupuncture points on it. Fong Tian put the dumplings on 2 plates and said, there is soy sauce, vinegar, and chili oil over there. Pour it yourself if you want to eat. Yang Ming nodded and mixed a small plate of dipping sauce for himself. Needless to say, the dumplings made by Fong Tian with cabbage and pork tasted really good. Yang Ming ate half a plate in one breath. Fong Tian didn't have a big appetite, so he was full after eating a few. Soon after the meal, Dong Jun came with a dummy in his hand. He put it on the floor as soon as he entered the door. This thing is quite heavy. Dong Jun wiped his sweat and said, there are dumplings over there. Cook them yourself if you want to eat. Fong Tian pointed at the table and said to Dong Jun. Dong Jun nodded and went to prepare it himself. Yang Ming looked at the dummy on the floor and was a little surprised. How can you get this kind of thing? This thing isn't for sale, right? But then he thought about Dong Jun's occupation. Yang Ming was dumbfounded. This thing was most likely stolen from a medical school. Fong Tian asked Yang Ming to lift the dummy and lean it against the corner of the wall. Chapter 202. Later, you will mark all the 36 death acupuncture points that I told you about according to the blueprint in your hand. What you need to do is to feel these acupuncture points with your eyes closed. Fong Tian pointed at the dummy and said, in many cases, the location of the acupuncture points can only be felt. For example, if you are far away from the target, or if you are in close combat. But most of the time doesn't allow you to make a judgment, so identifying the acupuncture points becomes a feeling. Simply put, practice makes perfect. Just like the blind typing of a computer. Although it is a different keyboard, if you are familiar with the structure, you can still type blindly. Yang Ming nodded to show that he was enlightened. Without wasting any time, he started to mark the acupuncture points. As an assassin, you must accurately identify these acupuncture points and understand their function. Fong Tian continued, there is a tongue twister that talks about the function of these acupuncture points. You can remember it. Bai Hui falls to the ground, Wei Lu doesn't return home. Zhang Men is hit, 9 out of 10 people will die. Taiyang and mute men are bound to meet the king of hell. Bai Hui acupuncture point is located at the intersection of the midline of the head and the tip of the ears. Meridians belong to the Du meridian, where the 3 yang and Du meridian meet. Hit in the head and faint. Shin Ting is located at the front of the head, 5 centimeters into the hairline. Meridians belong to the Du meridian and the bladder meridian of the foot Taiyang. Hit in the head and dizziness. Taiyang acupuncture point is located between the eyebrows and the outer corner of the eye. Meridians belong to the Qi acupuncture point, dizziness, black eyes and tinnitus after being hit. Airmen acupuncture point is located in front of the incision on the tragus. Meridians belong to the hand Shaoyang Sanjiao meridian. Hit in the head and faint, tinnitus and faint. Yang Ming not only found the acupuncture points, but also marked the function of each meridian according to Fong Tian's description. The entire body of the dummy was densely packed with small words. Your task now is to figure out the position and function of these acupuncture points as soon as possible. Fong Tian said, I will make a wooden dummy for you as soon as possible. This plastic dummy obviously can't withstand a few hits. It will probably break after a few hits. After finishing his words, Fong Tian turned around and left the room, leaving Yang Ming behind to study these acupuncture points. In a moment, Fong Tian's small courtyard was filled with the sound of clashing instruments. After eating the dumplings, Dong Jun got up and left. He also knew that when Fong Tian was imparting these things, he needed to avoid it. So, he gave Yang Ming his phone number and told him to call him at any time if he needed anything. Not long after, Fong Tian walked in with a simple wooden dummy on his back. Although the workmanship was very rough, the proportions were very precise. What do you remember? Fong Tian glanced at the silent Yang Ming and asked. It's almost done. Yang Ming nodded. That's good. Now, I will randomly name the acupoints. You immediately point out the acupoints on this wooden person. Fong Tian said, Are you ready? I'll give it a try. Yang Ming took one last look at the dummy before turning around. Intermediate. Fong Tian said. 4 inches below the navel. Yang Ming quickly pointed to the position. Fong Tian nodded. Chimin. Yang Ming followed his instructions and pointed again. It's too high. Lower it. Fong Tian said faintly, 6 ribs above, 2 ribs below. Just like this, Yang Ming could basically quickly find the position of each acupoint under Fong Tian's intensive training. If there was a mistake, Fong Tian would remind him. Not bad, but your reaction is still a little slow. Fong Tian said, You are still not familiar with the acupoints. After I say the name of an acupoint, you will unconsciously translate it in your mind. For example, mid-level acupoints. After I say it, you will unconsciously remember that the position of the acupoint is 4 inches below the navel. However, this process must be omitted. In other words, when I name an acupoint, you will immediately point out the position on the human body without thinking about its position. For example, when I name the eyes, you can point out the position immediately. You don't have to think about the position of the eyes on the head, nose, or forehead. Do you understand what I mean? I understand what you mean. Yang Ming was clear that Fong Tian wanted him to break away from the explanation of the auxiliary memory, but this required a process of adaptation. Okay, you can go back now. Fong Tian took out a plastic bag from under the bed and said, Soak these Chinese herbs in your hands and feet like before. Don't stop your strength training every morning. While balancing your strength, you can try to increase the speed of your punches. Then find a stopwatch and count how many punches you can make in a minute. Most of the time, the speed of your punches is the key to victory. Especially in close combat, if your punches are faster than your opponent, you will win. The reason is simple. You should have watched Saint Seiya when you were young, right? In the first battle, the reason why Seiya won was because his punches were faster than his opponent. What was his ultimate move called? Oh right, it was called Pegasus Meteor Punch. Of course, reaching his level of speed is nonsense. I am just giving an example. Yang Ming listened and sweated. Saint Seiya. This is a movie from the 90s, right? Fong Tian looked at Yang Ming's strange look, so he laughed and said, I saw it on TV in the detention center when I was bored, hee hee. Yang Ming certainly couldn't carry a dummy and a wooden manor back to school. He had no choice but to come to Fong Tian's place to practice every night. Yang Ming, have you been on the school's BBS? Zhang Bin asked Yang Ming in a hurry as soon as National Day ended. School's BBS. What's wrong? Yang Ming remembered that he registered a number on it when school started, but he didn't go on after that. There is a popular post about the freshman beauty campus bell. Zhang Bin said, I don't know who took it, but he posted all the freshman beauty photos. He is now searching for the beauty information. Although Yang Ming already had 2 girlfriends, he was still interested in the beauties in school. After all, which man didn't like to look at beauties? You saw it? Yang Ming asked as he turned on his laptop. Not yet. I heard it from a pervert in class 1 when I went upstairs. Zhang Bin said, log into the hot gossip section. Yang Ming clicked on the hot gossip section and asked, where is it? Top section, that. Yes, it's this post. Damn, the number of hits has reached more than 30,000. Zhang Bin exclaimed. Yang Ming clicked on the post. The campus network was still very fast, and the pictures were quickly refreshed. Most of these pictures were taken with a mobile phone. The pixels were not very clear, and there was no detailed information. It seemed that a bored pervert casually took these pictures. Isn't this sister-in-law? Zhang Bin pointed to the first picture and said in surprise. The first picture was indeed of Qin Mengyan. The location was near the teaching building of the School of Economics and Management. Obviously, it was taken secretly. However, the angle of the sneak shot was very good. Qin Mengyan was looking up at something. The whole picture had an indescribable sense of freshness. The poster also specifically noted below, this beauty is expected to become the new campus belle of the freshmen. Yang Ming shook his head. It seems that beauties have people paying attention to them wherever they go. Continuing to pull down the web page, Yang Ming actually saw Zhou Jiejia. This little slut is also a campus belle candidate. However, in terms of appearance, Zhou Jiejia was not much inferior to Qin Mengyan. Isn't this Zhou Jiejia? The beauty we saw when we were eating together that day. Zhang Bin pointed to Zhou Jiejia's picture and said excitedly. Looking at him like this, it was obvious that he didn't remember that this girl had talked to him naked. But it was no wonder. There were so many netizens. Who could remember so carefully? Yang Ming looked down again. The pictures in the post were not all of the best beauties. Some of them just looked average, and they may not be photogenic. However, there were a few pictures that looked very familiar. Yang Ming didn't take it seriously. First, the picture was not very clear. Second, they were all from the same school. It was very likely that they had met somewhere, so it was normal to be familiar. At the end of the post, the poster called on everyone to conduct a human search and collect the information of these beauties to supplement. Looking at the replies to the post, most of them were, I want you to be my girlfriend, so beautiful, I like it, and so on. Boss, what do you think if I publish sister-in-law's information? Zhang Bin smirked. You dare. Yang Ming glared at him and closed the post. Chapter 203. For this, Yang Ming couldn't say anything. Although it wasn't popular to choose campus belle rankings in the university now, pretty girls were always the focus of attention. It was understandable for someone to post such a post. Just like Yang Ming himself, wasn't he moved by Zhang Bin's words and took a look at this post? The first year of computer science courses were very boring. It was all about the basic knowledge of computer science and system operation. It wasn't in-depth at all. Coupled with some non-professional courses, it was almost the same as the other courses. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Besides going to class every day, Yang Ming would wake up at 5 a.m. every morning. Then he would go to the small forest in the north of the university to practice his strength and speed. Then he would go to Fang Tian's place to learn how to kill at night. After a period of adaptation, Yang Ming didn't need to translate the positions and effects of those acupuncture points in his mind. It was like a conditioned reflex, directly making a reasonable judgment. During the mock confrontation training with Fang Tian, Yang Ming was already able to quickly find the most advantageous position for himself and the most fatal position for the enemy to strike. Although he was hesitant sometimes, if the opponent wasn't an experienced killer like Fang Tian, Yang Ming could kill with one hit. Now that he thought about it, when he was fighting with Ji Shuixing, he must have accidentally hit one of his Achilles' heel, which led to Ji Shuixing's death. Okay, you have basically mastered the positions and functions of these fatal acupuncture points. The rest is practice makes perfect. Fong Tian nodded and was basically satisfied. But next, I will teach you to use the tools around you to increase the efficiency of killing. In many cases, killing people doesn't have to use your hands. Knives and sticks could also become weapons of murder. But for an assassin, anything around us could be used to kill. You can't always have a knife, gun, or stick with you, right? For example, on a plane, train, or some special occasions, you are not allowed to carry these things. Or maybe you don't intend to kill at all, and it's just a temporary idea. In this case, you have to learn how to use everything around you. For example, a rope, a chopstick, a mineral water bottle, a cell phone battery, or even a piece of paper can become a murder weapon. It all depends on whether you know how to use it properly. A piece of paper can kill people? Yang Ming looked at Fong Tian in disbelief. That's right. Even a slightly new banknote can be used as a killing tool. As long as the power is controlled well, it can also cut a person's throat. Fong Tian said faintly, there is a common technique to identify these things, which is sharp, thin, and thin. As long as one of these three characteristics is satisfied, it can be used as a killing tool. Of course, not all killing tools had to meet these three requirements. Those that did not meet these three requirements would also become killing tools. For example, a teacup or a table lamp. In short, as long as you use it properly, in theory, anything around you can kill. Yang Ming listened very carefully. Although he didn't want to walk the path of a professional killer, with the exposure of his ability, there would definitely be people coming to find trouble with him. And these would be the magic weapons that he would use to protect himself. In the following days, Yang Ming began to practice flying knives with Fong Tian. This was also strongly requested by Yang Ming because Fong Tian felt that this technique was not very useful in today's society. A cold weapon like a concealed weapon was always slower than a hot weapon. Of course, the kind of speed in martial arts movies was nonsense. It was impossible for it to exist in reality. What surprised Fong Tian was that Yang Ming had almost no training. After grasping the strength and technique of throwing, his accuracy had reached 99%, or even 100%. Because only the first few times he missed, after that Yang Ming was almost 100% accurate. At this point, Yang Ming was lazy. The reason why Yang Ming could be 100% accurate was because of Yang Ming's eyes, which could see infinitely far away. In this way, it was equivalent to Yang Ming throwing a knife at a target in front of him. How could it not be accurate? Yun Guangdou was very depressed. The Black Widow Revenge Company suddenly announced the suspension of all business. Although the deposit was returned and he didn't lose anything, Yun Guangdou was very unhappy. He felt that Yang Ming was the biggest obstacle in his pursuit of Sun Jia. He asked his assistant to print out the photos of Yang Ming hitting people and engrave the video into a disc. After Yun Guangdou checked that there were no errors, he anonymously sent it to Sun Jia's company. Sun Jia looked at the anonymous express delivery in her hand very playfully. Nowadays, express delivery companies could deliver without filling in the sender's name. Sun Jia shook her head and opened the express delivery. A stack of photos and a disc fell out. Sun Jia first picked up the photos and made a "huh" sound. She looked at the man in the photo in surprise. How could it be him? Sun Jia's heart suddenly tightened. She couldn't help but think of the charming scene in the bathroom. Sun Jia couldn't forget the feeling of her heart beating. Did she get the photos that he sent to her? Sun Jia quickly denied this idea. Her impression of Yang Ming was not such a boring person. Moreover, it seemed that Yang Ming didn't take her seriously at all. Sun Jia felt very defeated. Although she didn't want to continue to develop with him at that time, a girl's mentality was always very strange. She knew that it was impossible, but she still wanted to be valued. Sun Jia sighed faintly and expelled the bad thoughts in her mind. She calmed down and carefully observed the scene in the photo. This was in front of a cafe called Petite Bourgeois Sentiment. Sun Jia was a little puzzled because she couldn't see the face of the person who was beaten by Yang Ming in the photo. Who sent the photo to her? What was the purpose? She naturally didn't think that Yang Ming was bored enough to use his heroic appearance to attract her. However, other than Yang Ming, who else knew about her relationship with Yang Ming? What did this person want to do? Sun Jia put the CD into the computer. This was a video CD. After the computer's CD drive recognized it, it automatically called the system's player to play it. The content of the video was the same as the photo. It was the complete video of Yang Ming beating the person. Sun Jia used the mouse to click the pause button under the play picture. The picture was frozen. Sun Jia shook her head and smiled. Isn't this Yun Guangdou's driver? It turned out that Lu Shaoxing in the picture occasionally raised his head. It was very brief. If one didn't look carefully, one wouldn't notice it at all. This detail was ignored by Yun Guangdou, but it was seen by the careful Sun Jia. After thinking about it for a while, Sun Jia laughed and understood Yun Guangdou's intention. This guy must have known from somewhere that Yang Ming was her boyfriend. In order to slander his image, he deliberately let the driver, Lu Shaoxing, perform the trick of injuring himself to gain sympathy. Yun Guangdou, your driver was beaten up for nothing. Ha, it's so funny. Sun Jia laughed until tears came out. Is there such a stupid person in the world? After laughing, Sun Jia withdrew the CD and put it in the CD bag in the drawer. Then she picked up the stack of photos on the table. Her eyes were full of smiles. He was quite cool when he beat people up. Hee, Yun Guangdou, you don't even know what my Sun family does. You still want to pursue me? At this time, the internal phone on the table rang. Sun Jia quickly picked it up. General Manager, there is a man in the company who claims to be your younger brother who wants to see you. Sun Jia's secretary said. My younger brother. Is it Sun Jiwei? Let him come up. Sun Jia instructed on the phone. After a while, there was a knock on the door. Sun Jia put away the photos of Yang Ming on the table and said, Please come in. Sister, I'm here. Sun Jiwei was respectful in front of Sun Jia. He was afraid of this very powerful sister since he was a child. This sister also taught him a lot. Jiwei, what's the matter? Sun Jia smiled. Why are you so shy? If there's anything, just say it. Last time you promised to accompany me to buy a car. You were busy that time, so you didn't go. I don't know if it's possible today. Sun Jiwei asked carefully. Oh, it's this matter. I promised you. Naturally, I will buy it for you. Why? What car do you fancy? Asked Sun Jia. I want to buy a Ferrari 599 GTB Fiorano. Sun Jiwei said with fear. How much is it? Sun Jia didn't know much about cars. More than 3.8 million, which is almost 4 million. After the procedures, it's about 4.5 million. Sun Jiwei didn't dare to look up. What? It's only about 4 million. Sun Jia took a deep breath. Chapter 204. The Sun family was rich. This 4 or 5 million yuan was nothing to the Sun family and Sun Jia herself. But this wasn't the right way to spend money, right? Sun Jiwei was just a college student. Was it necessary to buy such an expensive car? My new Audi R8 was only 2 million yuan. This guy actually bought a car for more than 4 million yuan. Sun Jie's face immediately sank. Did your uncle agree to let you buy this car? No, no. Sun Jiwei didn't dare to lie because he knew that even if he lied, even if Sun Jia bought the car for him, if she found out that she was cheated, she could still get the car back. Let's do this. I will buy you a Porsche Boxster. My friend bought one. The performance is not bad. Sun Jia shook her head and said. Boxster. Okay. Sun Jiwei didn't dare to object. It was good enough that she could buy it for him. Why would he want a bicycle? Besides, this was much better than a bicycle. Although it was less than 1,000,000 yuan, at least it was a Porsche. The name was loud. Let's do this. I will ask my assistant to accompany you in a while. You can pick up the car when you see the color. Sun Jia had a lot of company matters to deal with every day. Naturally, she couldn't accompany Sun Jiwei to buy a car personally. Thank you, sister. Sun Jiwei thought about it. At present, he hadn't seen such a badass car in school. The best was just a BMW Mercedes-Benz. The best sports car that could be seen was the modern cool. The others were Geely Mercedes Jaguar or Chinese cool Bao. It wasn't at the same level as a Porsche. Go back to school and study hard. Don't cause trouble for me. If I find out that you are causing trouble, see how I will deal with you. Sun Jia glared at him and warned him. Got it, sister. Sun Jiwei nodded again and again. After sending Sun Jiwei away, Sun Jia shook her head and started to work again. Lu Xiaojun was very upset after he was discharged from the hospital. There was a very obvious scar on his face that would be the pain of his life. However, he blamed all of this on Yang Ming and the others. If they didn't beat him up, he wouldn't be in a bad mood to have a one-night stand. People were always like this. They liked to blame external factors for things that didn't go their way, and never thought about their own reasons. Right now, what Lu Xiaojun wanted the most was revenge. Otherwise, he would lose all his face. He had just been promoted from a freshman to a senior. If he let it go like this, then he would have to shrink his head in the future. Lu Xiaojun found Li Jiaxing and researched it. He felt that this matter should be discussed with the president of the Taekwondo club, Ren Jianren. Aren't you usually very capable? Aren't you able to settle everything in our school? Ren Jianren glanced at Lu Xiaojun. You've lost the face of our Taekwondo club. I'm just a first-year brat. I'm not very eye-catching, and they don't recognize me. Lu Xiaojun said in embarrassment. Don't know you. Don't you know the name of our Taekwondo club? I don't think he would dare to act rashly after hearing this. Ren Jianren snorted coldly and said, I think you don't understand what it means to be pretentious, right? I said it, why didn't I say it? I went up and said that I was the vice president of the Taekwondo club. Lu Xiaojun said quickly. Yes, Vice President Lu said it at that time. I can testify. Li Jiaxing added. Oh. Ren Jianren frowned. So, this brat is not afraid of our Taekwondo club. But you're capable enough to be beaten up by a first-year student. I was beaten up by 3 of them together. My 2 fists can't beat 4 hands, let alone 6 hands. Lu Xiaojun lied. He didn't dare to say that he was beaten up by 1 person. It would be too embarrassing. Yeah, President Ren, he didn't put the Taekwondo club in his eyes at all. He even said that Taekwondo was nothing special. Even if the president was here, he could still beat him up. Li Jiaxing didn't forget to add fuel to the fire. Really? Fuck. Ren Jianren was furious. Look at how crazy he is. If we don't teach him a lesson, he won't know how high the sky is. Yes. Once the president makes a move, we will know whether it is true or not. Lu Xiaojun saw that his goal was achieved, so he quickly complimented. Yes, let him know why the flowers are so red. Li Jiaxing also said. Ren Jianren was also an excellent student. He was immersed in taekwondo training since he was a child. Now he had reached the level of a black belt. He also represented Songjiang Industry University in the National University Taekwondo competition. He was a very powerful person. The more such a person was, the more arrogant he felt. He had always cared about his face. Now that he was bullied, he naturally couldn't hold back his anger. Seeing that Ren Jianren agreed to help him vent his anger, Lu Xiaojun was happy. Ren Jianren's strength was much stronger than his. It shouldn't be a problem for him to deal with those guys. When are we going to deal with that kid? Lu Xiaojun naturally wanted to do it as soon as possible. Then let's do it now. Anyway, I have nothing to do. I will go with you. Ren Jianren said. Coincidentally, Zhang Bin just came back from Zhao Cici's dormitory entrance and met Lu Xiaojun and Ren Jianren's group on the way. Ha! Lu Xiaojun was happy. Why else would there be a saying that enemies often cross paths? It seems to be true. Lu Xiaojun pointed to Zhang Bin and shouted, "It's him. He is one of them." Really? It's him. Ren Jianren glanced at Zhang Bing's skinny appearance and frowned. Is this the guy who beat up Lu Xiaojun until his head bled? It doesn't look like it. But there is a saying that one can't judge a book by its cover. Often, the guys who are not amazing have unique skills. So Ren Jianren stepped over and grabbed Zhang Bin's collar. Kid, wait. Stop right there. Zhang Bin turned to look at Ren Jianren in confusion. Who are you? Do I know you? You should know me, right? Lu Xiaojun jumped over. You? Oh, I remember. Aren't you the guy who slept with someone else's girlfriend and got beaten up? Zhang Bin was stunned and finally remembered who this guy was. Don't talk nonsense. Let me ask you, do you know who I am? Ren Jianren asked with a cold snort. Who are you? Zhang Bin thought, why do people like to ask others, do you know who I am? I am the president of the Taekwondo club, Ren Jianren. I heard that you are very arrogant. Ren Jianren pushed Zhang Bin back and directly pushed him. Bitch? Zhang Bin didn't understand. Someone actually called me a bitch. In Ren Jianren's ears, these words were taken as Zhang Bin's provocation and deliberately insulting him. Yes, since young, Ren Jianren had been ridiculed because of his name. So he wanted to become stronger and defeat all the people who laughed at him. Therefore, he became very sensitive to his name. When he heard Zhang Bin's words, he became very angry. Originally, according to the school rules, fighting couldn't be done on campus. It was very likely that the school would record it. Usually, they would find a reason, such as a dignified reason such as an invitation to learn martial arts from each other. Originally, Ren Jianren wanted to make an appointment to challenge Zhang Bin and the others. But now, Ren Jianren had lost his mind. When he heard Zhang Bin scolding him, he immediately went berserk. He raised his leg and gave Zhang Bin a flying kick. How could Zhang Bin be his opponent? He was directly kicked to the ground. Get up. Little bitch, aren't you very badass? Didn't you scold me? Didn't you look down on me? I will show you the power of the Taekwondo club. Ren Jianren didn't wait for Zhang Bin to react. He aimed at Zhang Bin's stomach and kicked Zhang Bin until he was twitching. Ah! Zhang Bin screamed. He felt that his stomach was going to explode. When did he get beaten like this? It turned out that when he was in high school, he never caused any trouble. Fuck, you are very badass. Rin Jianren kicked Zhang Bin's face again. I can kick you to death with one foot. Zhang Bin's nose was bleeding from this kick. He curled up on the ground and screamed. Rin Jianren didn't have the intention to let him go. He kicked him a few more times to vent the anger in his heart. Pooey! Rin Jianren spat a mouthful of thick phlegm on Zhang Bin's face. Just as he was about to raise his foot and continue to kick him, he was stopped by Lu Zhaojun. Lu Zhaojun was afraid that something would happen if he continued, so he quickly said, President Ren, this kid is just a small building. Their mastermind is called Yang Ming. Okay, kid, you go back and tell Yang Ming to make an appointment. I want to challenge him. And let's set it for next Monday. Rin Jianren stopped beating Zhang Bin's foot and laughed. No, Lu Zhaojun, you should personally inform Yang Ming and give him a letter of challenge. Tell him that if he doesn't come, he is a bastard. Chapter 205. Me. Lu Zhaojun didn't expect Rin Jianren to ask him to deliver the letter. Isn't this asking for a beating? Why? You don't dare to go. I'm standing up for you now. Are you so cowardly? Rin Jianren said disdainfully. No. Lu Zhaojun clenched his teeth. Anyway, I'm not going to fight. I'm just going to deliver the letter. It should be fine, right? So he nodded. Okay, I'll go now. Lu Zhaojun inquired about Yang Ming's dormitory. Fortunately, Yang Ming wasn't in the dormitory. Lu Zhaojun directly stuffed the letter of challenge through the gap of the door and ran away in a hurry. Yang Ming returned to the dormitory from Fang Tian's place. He found the letter on the floor as soon as he entered the door. It was a bit strange. What is this? Yang Ming thought it was rubbish like an advertisement, so he just threw it away. The campus now was different from before. Many sophomores and juniors put the idea of making money on the freshmen. For example, when school started a few days ago, there were many students who came to sell things like electric kettles, radios, thermos bottles, counterfeit mobile phones and so on. Yang Ming heard that a classmate in his class bought a counterfeit mobile phone from a junior. It was said that it had MP3, MP4, camera, electronic dictionary, radio, and so on. Buying one was equivalent to buying all these things. The classmate thought it was good. Not only was it done once and for all, but it also saved space. When he asked that the phone was only 999 yuan, the classmate was moved. He tried to ask if it could be cheaper. The junior began to complain that he was poor. He said that he was working part-time to give benefits to the freshmen. The profit was meager. For example, think about it. If you buy an MP3, it would cost 100 yuan. If you buy an MP4, it would cost 400 yuan, right? If you buy a digital camera, would it cost less than 1,000 yuan? That's a 2 million pixel camera. Not to mention the camera and the electronic dictionary. It only added up to 999 yuan. It's so cheap. Moreover, this was the limited edition of the learning device that he applied with the manufacturer. There were only 99 units. Now there were only a few units left. Once they were sold out, it would return to the original price of 2,399 yuan. The classmate thought about it. It was indeed the case. Opportunity knocks but once, it will never come again. Therefore, he paid for it. He thought that he had gotten a great bargain and was showing off everywhere. In the end, he saw another student promoting the same phone the next day. At first, he didn't think much of it. However, when he saw different students promoting cell phones every day, he realized that something was wrong. He took the phone to the telecommunications market and inquired. The price of this phone was only slightly more than 400 yuan. Yang Ming had already heard about this kind of scam from people on the internet, so he simply disdained those salesmen. Furthermore, not only were there people selling products, but there were also people posting advertisements. Therefore, Yang Ming naturally treated this letter as an advertisement. But just as he was about to throw it into the trash can, he suddenly saw the words, "To Yang Ming," on the envelope. Fuck, Yang Ming hurriedly clenched his fist that was about to let go. It couldn't be, right? For me. Yang Ming looked at the envelope and muttered to himself strangely, this advertisement has a registered name. Could it be that I have infinite charm and a girl gave me a love letter? As Yang Ming said this, he tore open the envelope and took out the letter inside. However, he saw 3 typed words, challenge letter. Fuck, what is this? Yang Ming raised the challenge letter and read it. This Taekwondo club invites Mr. Yang Ming to spar at the Taekwondo dojo at 1 p.m. next Monday. Please come at that time. Taekwondo Club President, Ren Jianren. After Yang Ming finished reading, he directly threw the letter into the trash can. Idiot, crazy. Who wants to spar with you? Really fucking brainless. Yang Ming didn't take it seriously and went back to the house to surf the internet. When it was almost 6:00 in the evening, Yang Ming walked out of the bedroom and found that Zhang Bin and Tian Donghua didn't come back. Where did these 2 guys go? They didn't come back at dinner time. Yang Ming shook his head and picked up the phone to call Zhang Bin. Suddenly, the phone rang. Yang Ming glanced at the caller. It was actually Qin Mengyan. Forget it. Then I won't look for Zhang Bin. I'll go eat with my little Mengyan. Hey, Mengyan, let's go out to eat together. I don't know where Zhang Bin went to fool around. Yang Ming said straightforwardly. Yang Ming, where are you? Qin Mengyan asked anxiously. What's wrong, Mengyan? Yang Ming heard that Qin Mengyan's voice was a bit wrong. Yang Ming, something happened to Zhang Bin. Qin Mengyan's voice was a bit low. Zhao Cici and I are at the school clinic. If you are near, come quickly. What? Something happened to Zhang Bin. Yang Ming was shocked. What happened to him? What happened, Mengyan? Come over and talk about it. It's not clear on the phone. Qin Mengyan said. Okay, you wait for me. I'll be right there. After hanging up the phone, Yang Ming didn't bother to turn off the computer. He locked the door and ran directly to the school clinic. Something happened to Zhang Bin. Yang Ming was somewhat inexplicable. What could happen to Zhang Bin? Could it be that this kid had a car accident? But it can't be. How can he go to the school clinic after a car accident? No matter what, I have to see him first. After a period of intensive training, Yang Ming's leg muscles were more developed than before, so his running speed wasn't much worse than the professional sprinters on the school team. People who didn't know would think that Yang Ming was practicing running, but this was also good. They all made way for Yang Ming to avoid bumping into them. When he came to the school clinic, Yang Ming saw Qin Mengyan standing in the corridor anxiously waiting. Mengyan, I'm here. What's going on? Yang Ming hurriedly ran over. Yang Ming, you're here. Qin Mengyan saw Yang Ming and was relieved. Zhang Bin is in the room. You go in and see. Yang Ming nodded and entered the ward. As soon as he entered the ward, he smelled a pungent smell of disinfectant and iodine. Zhang Bin was lying on the bed. Zhao Cici nervously grabbed his hand and stared at Zhang Bin. Zhang Bin, what happened? Yang Ming was shocked. Zhang Bin's face was swollen and bruised. His eyes were narrowed into a small line, and his nose was stuffed with cotton to stop the bleeding. Yang Ming, you're here. Zhao Cici turned and saw Yang Ming. She quickly said, let's figure out what to do. What do you mean what to do? What happened to Zhangbin? How did he get hurt like this? Yang Ming sat on the side of Zhangbin's bed. Shoo, lower your voice. Zhangbin just fell asleep. Zhao Cixi whispered, it's Lu Xiaojun who we had dinner with that day. He found someone to retaliate against us. According to Zhangbin, the next person he is looking for is you. Lu Xiaojun. What Lu Xiaojun? The vice president of the Taekwondo club, asked Yang Ming. That's him. What should we do? That day, it was Wang Jitao who started the trouble. How can he blame us? Zhao Cixi said with some resentment. Let's not talk about this first. How is Zhangbin? Is there any problem? Do you need to go to a big hospital? Yang Ming waved his hand. He was most worried about Zhangbin's injury. The doctor has seen it. It's just some superficial wounds. It shouldn't be a big problem. Zhao Cixi said, however, he may have to lie down for a few days. Yang Ming breathed a sigh of relief after listening. As long as the muscles and bones were not injured, it was fine. Although the superficial wounds were painful, they were also the fastest to heal. But this Lu Xiaojun seems to be a bit too much, right? The vice president of the Taekwondo club. Wasn't the person who challenged me today the president of the Taekwondo club? Could it be him? Now it seems that it is very possible. Motherfucker, you beat up Zhangbin like this. You don't want to live anymore, right? Yang Ming's first thought now was to immediately kill him without anyone knowing. But after thinking about it, Yang Ming immediately calmed down again. At this time, it was impossible to do so. That was murder. It wasn't as simple as a fight. The police would definitely find him. Yang Ming sighed. Although the death penalty could be avoided, it was difficult to escape punishment. In his heart, he had already judged that Lu Xiaojun and the president of the Taekwondo club to be seriously injured. Meng Yan and I will go out to buy some food. You stay here with Zhangbin for a while. Zhao Cixi instructed. Yang Ming nodded. After Zhao Cixi and Chen Mengyan left, Yang Ming patted Zhangbin's butt and laughed, okay, stop pretending. They are gone. I say, bro, can you be gentler? Zhangbin opened his eyes, grinned and touched his butt and complained, you even saw through this? Hee hee. You are just trying to cheat Zhao Cixi's sympathy. I know you are fine when I see you like this. Yang Ming smiled and said, it seems that this beating is quite worth it. Chapter 206. Hee hee, a friend in need is a friend indeed. I didn't know that Zhao Cixi was so concerned about me. Zhangbin smirked. What are you going to do about this? That kid wrote me a challenge letter. Yang Ming saw that Zhangbin was fine, so he was relieved. Just now, he wasn't sure if Zhangbin was pretending. He just judged from Zhangbin's expression and the slight movement of his eyelids. Challenge letter. Damn, I heard about this. Bro, are you really going to fight? Zhangbin asked. Otherwise what? You can't take this beating for nothing. Yang Ming said. Of course not. I mean, let's just start from behind and beat him up. Zhangbin suggested. Yang Ming shook his head. I will definitely retaliate against him. But now, since he has given me a chance to take revenge in an open and aboveboard manner, why should I start from behind? What? Bro, it can't be. You want to compete with him in Taekwondo? Zhangbin was surprised. Who said that I want to compete with him in Taekwondo? He said that he wanted to learn from each other, but he didn't say what to learn from each other. Yang Ming smiled very shamelessly and said, haven't you heard of the saying, brick-breaking martial art? Damn, is this even possible? Zhang Bing sneered after hearing it. Originally, Zhang Bin wanted to stay in the school clinic for a few more days. However, the wounds on his face and body were all superficial, and they were soon healed. Even the doctor said that there was no problem. Zhang Bin had to leave the hospital helplessly. Other people would look happy when they were discharged from the hospital, but Zhang Bing looked like he had lost money. These 2 days, Zhao Cici's care for Zhang Bing could be said to be meticulous. She was just short of feeding him step by step. Zhang Bing enjoyed this feeling of deep affection very much. The relationship between the two also improved by leaps and bounds. Zhang Bing originally wanted to delay for a few more days to settle the matter between the two of them, but he didn't expect that his skin's recovery ability was simply too strong. In less than 2 days, it was as if nothing had happened. Zhang Bin didn't want to stay, as that would make Zhao Cici feel that he had ulterior motives. In order to celebrate Zhang Bin's discharge from the hospital, Yang Ming suggested that they go to a restaurant to celebrate. However, Zhao Cici insisted that Zhang Bin couldn't drink as he had just been discharged from the hospital. They had no choice but to go to a Daiko's fast food restaurant near the school. It was said that this was a foreign fast food restaurant opened by a local. However, for Yang Ming, he couldn't tell whether it was good or bad. He felt that it was the same. After ordering, they found an empty table and sat down. Congratulations on your safe discharge from the hospital. Yang Ming raised the Coke in his hand. No way. I didn't do anything. You don't have to be so serious, right? Zhang Bin laughed. Of course. Zhao Cici also raised her cup. After the 4 of them clinked their cups, Chen Mengyan asked Zhang Bin, how do you want to deal with this matter? Do you want to tell the teacher, or just let it go? Chen Mengyan was a good student. Subconsciously, the first thought that came to her mind was to report to the school. At that time, if Zhang Bin didn't try to stop it, this matter might have already spread to the school. It's okay. Didn't Yang Ming already promise to avenge me? Zhang Bin said halfway. Suddenly, he found that Yang Ming was staring at him fiercely. He immediately knew that he said too much. Yang Ming was afraid that Chen Mengyan would be worried, so the matter of accepting Ren Jinren's challenge was only known to Zhang Bin. Now that Zhang Bin let it out, there was no way to hide it. What? Yang Ming. You want to accept Ren Jinren's challenge? Chen Mengyan was stunned. She thought that Yang Ming would never agree to such a boring thing. She didn't expect to hear Zhang Bin's meaning. Yang Ming was going to participate in the battle. Yeah, I want to take the opportunity to teach him a lesson. Since Chen Mengyan already knew, Yang Ming couldn't hide it anymore. Yang Ming, what are you talking about? Do you know what you are doing? How can you use such extreme means to deal with him? Chen Mengyan said with some blame, moreover, he is a professional taekwondo athlete. How can you beat him? Is taekwondo great? That Lu Xiaojun was beaten by me until he couldn't stand up. If it was before, Yang Ming might think that these school taekwondo clubs had some strength. But now, Yang Ming didn't put them in his eyes at all. Yang Ming even dared to say that he could defeat Ren Jianren in one move. Yang Ming, why don't you listen? You are too arrogant. Chen Mengyan frowned and reprimanded, you were caught off guard that day. If it was a formal competition, how can you be his opponent? A formal competition. Yang Ming smiled. He had discussed this issue with Zhang Bin before. Yang Ming comforted her, it's okay. I know what I am doing. Mengyan, don't worry. I will be fine. Moreover, he said that it was a competition. There will be a lot of audience on that day. He can't do anything to me. AI. Chen Mengyan sighed faintly. She knew that she couldn't persuade him in a short time. Anyway, there were still a few days before the competition. Chen Mengyan decided to find a chance to talk to Yang Ming. Have you heard? There is a freshman named Yang Ming who wants to challenge the president of the Taekwondo club, Rin Jianren. Not far behind Yang Ming, two boys were discussing something intensely. Damn, of course, I heard. That Yang Ming is so badass. He dares to challenge the president of the Taekwondo club. Boy A said. I think so too, but who knows, he might be a tiger. Boy B said. Pooh. Yang Ming spat out a mouthful of coke on the table. Who made this rumor? When did I take the initiative to challenge? Zhang Bin, Chen Mengyan, and Zhao Sisi also looked at Yang Ming strangely. How did they know about this? How would I know? Yang Ming smiled bitterly. We have been together for the past 2 days. How could this news spread so fast? Before Yang Ming could figure out what was going on, two boys sat at the table on the right side of Yang Ming. Old Lu, have you heard? There is a freshman who dares to challenge the president of the Taekwondo club, Rin Jianren. A boy said. What challenge? According to reliable sources, the two of them are fighting for a girl. The boy called Old Lu said mysteriously, it is said that the girl is very beautiful. She is a candidate for the campus belle of the freshman year. Really? The first boy asked. I also saw it on the campus BBS. In short, there must be some inside story. Old Lu said, I don't believe that someone would challenge for no reason just to learn martial arts. But this freshman student is very fierce. He dares to challenge Rin Jianren. The first boy asked. Who knows? Maybe it was Rin Jianren who started it first. Old Six said. Oh my God. Yang Ming was stunned when he heard the words of the people around him. What the hell is going on? I haven't made it clear whether I will accept the challenge or not, and it has become known to the whole school. In fact, this was also the momentum that Rin Jianren and Lu Xiaojun took the initiative to create. They wanted to embarrass Yang Ming and let everyone mistakenly think that Yang Ming was seeking humiliation by challenging the Taekwondo club. If he lost, it would be a big loss of face. Therefore, as soon as he returned to the dormitory, Lu Xiaojun contacted several roommates and ran to the campus BBS to slander Yang Ming. 3 men become tigers, 4 become immortals, and 5 become Arabian myths. So the more the rumors spread on the BBS, the more ridiculous it became. Everyone would add their own imagination in the post, so a twist of the inside story actually appeared. In an instant, a lot of insiders jumped out on the forum to expose the grudge between Yang Ming and the Taekwondo club. The post about Yang Ming competing with others for the campus belle was created in this way. Of course, there was some truth in this. At least the matter of Yang Ming beating up Lu Xiaojun was true. Yang Ming didn't take it seriously at first, but he heard so many people talking about him, and they all said that he took the initiative to challenge the Taekwondo club. Yang Ming finally realized that things were unusual. This was obviously one-sided negative news. He was invited to learn from them, but it became him looking for trouble. If something happened in the future, if the school investigated, then he would be the one to suffer. So the first thing Yang Ming did when he returned to the dormitory was to turn on the computer and log into the school's BBS. After a search, there were hundreds of topics about him. The replies to the posts were countless. Yang Ming clicked on a few popular themes and frowned as he read. Chapter 207. The reason why Yang Ming frowned was because he didn't know who it was. The person actually connected me with Zhou Jiejia. The title of the post was actually about me and Lu Xiaojun fighting because of Zhou Jiejia. It was also accompanied by a few photos taken with a mobile phone. In the photos, Yang Ming was glaring at Lu Xiaojun while Zhou Jijia stood aside to mediate. This must have been taken by the witness of that day. Excluding his own conjecture, this post was relatively faithful to the truth. However, the witness regarded Yang Ming as a provocator. Not only did he beat up Lu Xiaojun, but he also challenged the entire Taekwondo club. Yang Ming was furious. He picked up the phone and called the administrator of the campus forum to delete the post. Yang Ming didn't want to have anything to do with Zhou Jijia. However, he didn't expect his request to be rejected by the administrator of the forum. It was said that college students had freedom of speech. As long as they weren't superstitious and weren't reactionary, they wouldn't delete the post. If the post was deleted, then who would dare to post? Fuck. Yang Ming cursed and hung up the phone. However, he didn't expect the administrator of the forum to be on the same side. In less than 5 minutes, an explosive post was posted. Yang Ming cursed and called to delete the post related to Zhou Jijia. Is there a secret or is he trying to cover up something? The content of the phone call to Yang Ming was exaggerated in the post. It confirmed the connection between him and Zhou Jijia. Then, it said that Yang Ming didn't get the administrator's permission and cursed. Yang Ming was so angry that he wanted to throw the administrator of the forum into the sea. In the female dormitory, Zhou Jijia was looking at the new post on the campus forum. There was a faint smile on her face. Jijia, look. Someone actually said that Yang Ming did it for you. Wang Shui pointed to a post on the forum. I saw it. The person who posted it is really interesting. Zhou Jijia said faintly. I don't know what Yang Ming will think when he sees it. Will he pay attention to you? Wang Shui said with a smile, but I think that Yang Ming has a problem with his eyes. You are so beautiful. How can he not like you? Wang Shui, don't mention the past again. I was too stupid. Zhou Jijia's beautiful eyes showed a hint of regret. However, it seems that God is helping you this time. Wang Shui said. If this news is sensationalized, even if Yang doesn't admit it, everyone will think so. Then he will only hate me even more. Zhou Jijia said lightly, maybe he will think that I did it on purpose. Jijia, Wang Shui said Yang Jijia, Jijia, S Yang, said Zhou Jijia S's, said Zhou Jijia. Is Jijia, TT. Of them was started. These posts are obviously posted by Lu Xiaojun and Ren Jianren. Wang Shui said. Yeah, but these posts will soon disappear. Zhou Jijia shook her head and said. What? Jijia, you mean you want to? Wang Shui was stunned. Zhou Jijia nodded and sighed. The administrator of this forum seems to be in cahoots with them. I hope he knows what to do. Otherwise, this forum will be paralyzed for a few days. After that, Zhou Jijia's little hand danced quickly on the keyboard. Yang Ming refreshed the forum page to see if there were any new unfavorable posts. But he was surprised to find that all the posts about him disappeared. Damn, no way. Yang Ming thought, I haven't threatened that kid yet, and he took the initiative to delete my post. Could it be that he heard of my reputation and was afraid that I would beat him up? Of course, Yang Ming was just thinking about it. The possibility was very small. But since someone deleted the post, Yang Ming was even happier. Yang Ming, are you online? Zhang Bin came in with 2 bottles of green tea and threw a bottle to Yang Ming. I heard that Lu Xiaojun and the others are creating hype on the internet. Damn, do you want me to help you create hype? I create hype. What am I hyping up? Yang Ming asked curiously. Fuck them. They posted that you provoked them first. Now the outside world is saying that we are at fault. When the time comes, even if you win, it will be an unfair victory. So the hearts of the people are very important. Zhang Bin said, let's create hype and arouse everyone's sympathy. They will say that they bullied us. When the time comes, if we win, we will do justice for the heavens. Even if we lose, we will lose honorably and not succumb to the obscenities of these people. I didn't expect you to have such a trick up your sleeve. After listening, Yang Ming felt that Zhang Bin's words were very feasible, so he said, that's true, but we don't know many people. It can't be just us, right? They are obviously a group of people operating it. That's not a big deal. The salespeople under my dad always post some company advertisements on the internet. I will tell them and let them post on our school's forum in the next few days. Zhang Bin had obviously thought of a countermeasure. Under Zhang Bin's instructions, all the salespeople in Zhang's company put down what they were doing and began to focus on posting. People who could eat the salespeople's bowl of rice were definitely not ordinary people. Otherwise, they would definitely starve to death. These people also had a common characteristic, which was that they were very talkative. Their mouths were full of words. They absolutely didn't blink when making up stories. As a result, various versions of Lu Xiaojun and Ren Jianren bullying freshmen appeared out of nowhere. Fighting, bullying freshmen, flirting with female students, insulting female teachers, beating up male teachers, and so on. Anyway, these salespeople made up stories out of nothing. These people were all masters of bullshitting. They made it sound like it was true. In addition, Lu Xiaojun and Ren Jianren didn't have a good reputation in the school, so a lot of students believed it. In addition, these salespeople were instructed by Zhang Bin to vaguely insinuate in the posts that the previous one-sided posts were made by Lu Xiaojun and Ren Jianren. The reason why they were deleted was because they distorted the facts. This time, there were even more people who were convinced. This forum represented the school official. Deleting the posts was the official idea. How could it be fake? Xing Tianqi, what happened to you? You deleted the previous posts. Lu Xiaojun angrily called the forum's administrator. Lu Xiaojun, it wasn't me who deleted it. I am also investigating the problem. Xing Tianqi said with sweat. It wasn't you. You are the administrator of the forum. If it wasn't you, who was it? Lu Xiaojun said angrily, do you want to go against our Taekwondo club? Vice President Lu, it really wasn't me. I don't know why, but I can't enter the forum's back end. My administrative authority is invalid. Xing Tianqi explained. I don't understand why you are telling me this. Just fix it for me as soon as possible. Lu Xiaojun said. Yes, of course, of course. Xing Tianqi quickly agreed. What the hell, what's going on? After hanging up the phone, Xing Tianqi stared at the error dialog box on the screen in front of him and frowned. Could it be that it was hacked? But the security of the server was done by XX company. There can't be a problem, right? Half an hour later, Xing Tianqi began to sweat. There were more and more posts that were beneficial to Yang Ming, but he couldn't do anything. And not only were some sock puppets posting, but some old users were also posting to scold Lu Xiaojun and Ren Jianren. He's not stupid, huh? He knows how to find some sock puppets to counterattack. Wang Shui pointed to the computer screen and said. It's just that these sock puppets are newly registered. They are not convincing enough. Zhou Jiejia said with a smile. Then you should help him. Wang Shui smiled and said, isn't it a piece of cake for you to use other people's accounts to post? Sigh, this enemy. Zhou Jiejia sighed. I help him, but he doesn't know. Don't help if you have the ability. Wang Shui glanced at Zhou Jiejia and shook her head. I don't have the ability. Zhou Jiejia said helplessly. Damn, boss, no way. Is your charisma that strong? Many old users' big accounts suddenly appeared in the forum to post in support of you. Zhang Bin said in surprise, "Look at this guy, he registered 2 years ago and his points are in the tens of thousands." But Zhang Bin, did you notice that there is not a single opposing post? Did Lu Xiaojun give up? Or is there a conspiracy? Yang Ming asked curiously. In fact, it was not that Lu Xiaojun did not post, but that he could not post at all. The system seemed to have set keywords. As long as he posted something unfavorable to Yang Ming, it would prompt, "Sorry, the post you posted contained sensitive words, please edit it." Lu Xiaojun was going crazy. This Xing Tianqi, what is he doing? Chapter 208. Xing Tianqi wanted to use this opportunity to build a good relationship with Lu Xiaojun, but he didn't expect such an accident. Xing Tianqi had no choice but to take a taxi to the company's computer room where the forum server was hosted for maintenance. However, he found out that the original data backup area of the server was also destroyed. It was almost impossible to fix it. Xing Tianqi had no choice but to shut down the server and transfer the domain name to a temporary space. He posted a statement explaining that the server was under maintenance and the forum would be suspended for 2 days. He didn't expect that this would cause so much trouble. Jia, I didn't expect them to be so impatient and shut down the forum temporarily. Wang Shui laughed. Yeah, but this statement needs to be changed. Zhou Jia said ambiguously. It was easy to get control of the domain name. After changing the password, they pointed it to a free space on another network. The statement became that because a lot of truth was published on the forum, some people were jealous, so they were attacked. The server was down and was under maintenance. With this, even a fool could guess the hidden meaning in the statement. Lu Xiaojun and Ren Jianren were dissatisfied with the truth leaked on the forum, so they found a hacker to hack the forum. Xing Tianqi just came out of the computer room, and his phone rang again. Hello, Vice President Lu, I have shut down the server. Don't worry. Xing Tianqi said quickly. Fuck. Are you fucking sure you want to go against our Taekwondo club? What did you mean by that statement? Lu Xiaojun was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Nothing. I'm just telling the truth. The server was malfunctioning. What's wrong with that? Xing Tianqi was baffled. Good, you are really good. Xing Tianqi, oh Xing Tianqi, just you wait. I can't take care of you anymore. After that, Lu Xiaojun hung up the phone. Xing Tianqi was a little baffled. What did I do? Could it be? A bad idea suddenly crossed his mind. Xing Tianqi quickly ran back to the computer room and found a computer with internet access. He opened the forum and his mouth was wide open. Isn't this speed a bit too fast? Xing Tianqi quickly logged into the IDC company's management interface, but he found out that the management password of the domain name was changed. It would take some time to get these things, and the verification process would take 1 to 2 working days. Xing Tianqi shuddered at the thought. The reason why the duel between Yang Ming and Ren Jianren had become such a big deal and attracted the attention of the entire school was actually entirely because of Ren Jianren himself. If he and Lu Xiaojun hadn't wanted to ruin Yang Ming's reputation by posting on the school's BBS, they wouldn't have reaped what they had sown. But now that things had reached a point of no return, Lu Xiaojun and Ren Jianren simply didn't care and let these public opinions spread. Anyway, they had a bad reputation in the school, so it didn't matter if they had more. This way, no one would dare to mess with the Taekwondo club in the future. Of course, all of this had to be based on winning. Regarding Yang Ming, Ren Jianren still had the confidence to deal with him. One had to know that he was a professional Taekwondo fighter. Normally, 3 or 4 people would not be able to get close to him. Yang Ming was also very curious about the situation on the school's BBS. He had heard that the school's forum administrator, Xing Tianqi, had a very close relationship with Lu Xiaojun. Also, because of the forum incident, Xing Tianqi had already been taught a lesson once. Yang Ming didn't believe that this guy would help him. But the fact was that the statement was still on the internet, and it was very obvious that it hinted the truth to the visitors. Yang Ming also thought about whether or not someone was helping him, but he asked Zhang Bin, Chen Mengyan, and his friends around him, and no one did this. Yang Ming could only temporarily not think about this matter. Chen Mengyan called him many times, trying to persuade him to give up on the duel with Ren Jianren. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. Mengyan, in the current situation, do you think I can still give up? So many people are looking at me. If I give up, can I still mingle in Songjiang Industry University in the future? In the future, you will be despised when you are with me because of this. You don't want others to say that your boyfriend is a coward, right? But... Chen Mengyan hesitated. Yang Ming's words were very reasonable, and she couldn't refute it. But she was afraid that Yang Ming would have some accident. Seeing that Chen Mengyan hesitated, Yang Ming continued, Mengyan, don't worry. I don't know Taekwondo. I think when the time comes, under the eyes of the public, he can't do anything to me. Okay then, but you must be careful. I don't want anything to happen to you. Chen Mengyan sighed and said. No problem. Will you come and watch? Asked Yang Ming. Of course, how can I not go? Chen Mengyan said coquettishly, you can rest assured. I will cheer for you. Then you can wait and see the return of my king. Yang Ming chuckled. For this competition, Yang Ming had already thought of a countermeasure. Yang Ming didn't know Taekwondo at all. So when the time came, even if Yang Ming didn't use Taekwondo, it didn't matter. No one would come out to criticize him. It was precisely because of this that Yang Ming had an opportunity. Yang Ming's mouth flashed a sinister smile. This time, I will let you see what is called the brick-breaking martial art. Monday afternoon was the activity time of each club. There were no classes for each age group. However, today, many people who didn't join the club also chose to stay in the university. If it were a normal time, many people would have gone out to pick up girls or go to the internet cafe to play games. The purpose of these people was to watch the competition between Yang Ming and Ren Jianren. There was a sea of people inside and outside the Taekwondo club. Fortunately, the Taekwondo club was a big club and occupied an old gymnasium. After the new gymnasium was built, it was set aside for club activities. However, some of the best places in the gymnasium had already been occupied by people. These were basically the school officials. For example, the school newspaper, school TV station, school radio station, school website staff. This competition was very sensational, so no one wanted to miss this news. There were also many students who took this opportunity to find a lot of business opportunities. They wholesale some telescopes and small whistles to sell in the gymnasium. It was very popular. Although the competition time was at 2:00 in the afternoon, Ren Jianren came at 1:00. He stood on the stage full of energy. He arrogantly adjusted his taekwondo suit, waved to the audience under the stage, and pretended to smile. Ren Jianren was quite good-looking. He had some female fans in Songjiang Industry University, but there weren't many good-looking ones. They were all ugly. Ren Jianren took the towel handed by Lu Xiaojun and wiped the sweat on his face. Then, he asked, why isn't Yang Ming here yet? Is this brat scared? It's only 1:30. It's still early, said Lu Xiaojun. Ren Jianren nodded and returned the towel to Lu Xiaojun. Then, he began to warm up. 10 minutes later, Ren Jianren frowned. The time is almost up. Why isn't Yang Ming here yet? Until 1:30, Ren Jianren couldn't sit still and began to be a little impatient. If Yang Ming didn't come today, then he would be a big joke. Although it could be said that Yang Ming was afraid of him and didn't dare to fight, it could also be said that Yang Ming didn't care about him at all. Just when Ren Jianren was annoyed, music suddenly sounded in the gymnasium. This music was the music when Gao Jin appeared in God of Gamblers. Ren Jianren scolded, "What is going on? Who the fuck is doing this?" He thought that someone was playing a prank, but he didn't expect to see Yang Ming walking over here. At this moment, Yang Ming was wearing a black suit, a hat, and a white scarf around his neck. Just like Su Wenxiang in Shanghai, he waved to the audience and walked to the stage. Damn! Ren Jianren scolded in his heart. What is this guy doing? Does he think that he is negotiating with a gang leader? However, Yang Ming's move was obviously very shocking to the students in the audience, especially the little girls. When Yang Ming appeared, the screams and whistles in the audience continued as if they were welcoming a big shot. Yes, this was the effect that Yang Ming wanted. He just wanted to turn this competition into a farce. This way, it would be convenient for his next plan. Chapter 209. Yang Ming stood on the stage like a peerless figure, facing the audience. Then, he suddenly reached out and took off the hat on his head and threw it to the audience, causing a crazy scramble. Then, Yang Ming threw down the scarf and coat. Just as the audience was boiling, Yang Ming suddenly shouted, "There is a loud noise in the sky. I am on the stage." There was a burst of cheers and whistles under the stage. Of course, there were different opinions. Some people were dismissive of Yang Ming's behavior. They thought that he was just putting on a show. But most of the students still thought that Yang Ming's appearance was very gorgeous and unique. It brought a bright spot and novelty to the boring university life. Ren Jianren saw Yang Ming's performance and was almost fuming with anger. What is this guy trying to do? He didn't wait for the fight to make a mess. Ren Jianren said coldly, "Yang Ming, are you done? If you are done, can we start?" Everything is in silence. I will give you a couplet. As Yang Ming said, he turned around and revealed a couplet on his back. It said, "Punch at Nanshan Nursing Home, kick at Beihai Kindergarten." On his butt, it said, "Brick-breaking martial arts." It suddenly attracted a burst of sighs and laughter under the stage. Ren Jianren's face turned green after he saw it. It was obvious that he was categorized into the same category as nursing homes and kindergartens, wasn't it? Does it mean that I am not even as good as the old and weak? What brick-breaking martial arts? This is obviously mocking my kung fu for being useless. Just as he was about to refute, he heard Yang Ming speak first. How do you want to compete? How? Of course, it is Taekwondo. Ren Jianren said with dissatisfaction, since you are here, don't you know this? That's not right. Yang Ming shook his head after he heard it. Ren Jianren was confused. Yang Ming said slowly, if you are competing in Taekwondo, then I can only surrender. What do you mean? Ren Jianren was stunned. You don't want to compete? Are you going back on your words? No. Yang Ming waved his hand and said, you said we are competing in Taekwondo, but I don't even know the most basic rules of Taekwondo. Isn't it only a loss? It would be better to not compete and just admit defeat. It will not affect everyone's vision. Isn't that right? Yeah, he's right. Isn't this bullying? He doesn't even know Taekwondo. How can he compete with you? That's right. It's not fair. It's not fair. Let's not compete, it's honorable to win. The people under the stage complained. The few who took the lead were naturally Zhang Bin and Tian Donghua. Including Wang Jitao, he didn't have a good impression of the Taekwondo club. He also mobilized the whole class to support Yang Ming. Sun Jiwei, as Yang Ming's class monitor, originally hated Yang Ming, but now Yang Ming represented not only Yang Ming himself, but also the computer science level 08 class 2, and even the whole group of freshmen. Therefore, he couldn't stop his classmates from cheering for Yang Ming. He had to sit aside and hope that Ren Jianren could teach Yang Ming a lesson. Then how do you want to compete? Ren Jianren blushed, but he couldn't say anything. Yang Ming was right. He didn't know Taekwondo. Weren't you using your strength to fight against his weakness? Let's just fight. Yang Ming said, it's not limited to the rules. Kickboxing. Ren Jianren was stunned, and then he thought, this is good. Then I can use Taekwondo to beat you. Ren Jianren was most afraid that Yang Ming would say something like no Taekwondo moves. Then, he would be a little bit tied up. Now that there were no rules, he could use his strength. Before, he didn't think that Yang Ming knew Taekwondo, so he simply didn't want to ask anything from Yang Ming. Therefore, after Yang Ming said the rules, Ren Jianren felt that it was no different from what he had imagined before, so he nodded and agreed, okay. In this case, I will use Taekwondo. You can use whatever moves you want. Ren Jianren's words attracted a sigh from the audience. This was shameless. Use your strength, and others can do whatever they want. This was simply a one-sided competition. However, Yang Ming didn't care. He asked casually, I can use any moves? Yes. You can do whatever you want. Ren Jianren thought to himself, you brat, why are you so hesitant? Hurry up and let me beat you up. Okay, then I will use my unique skill. Asked Yang Ming. Fuck. What does it have to do with me if you use your unique skill? Hurry up, are you ready? Ren Jianren asked impatiently. Don't you want to ask me what my unique skill is? Yang Ming continued to speak unhurriedly. You motherfucker. Ren Jianren almost went berserk, but he still held back his patience and said, then what is your unique skill? Ha! Yang Ming turned around, then pointed at the couplet behind him and said to Ren Jianren, this is my tactic. Ren Jianren was so angry that his face turned green, and smoke came out of his nostrils. It turned out that this brat deliberately humiliated me. What motherfucker is this about punching Nanshan nursing home and kicking Beihai kindergarten? Do you think I am a nursing home and kindergarten? Motherfucker, watch how I beat you until you cry for your parents. Can we start now? Ren Jianren said coldly. Okay, I am letting you know yourself and your enemy, and you will win every battle. Said Yang Ming. I don't need to know myself and my enemy to beat you. As Ren Jianren said this, he got up and prepared to attack. What are you doing? Yang Ming suddenly asked. Didn't the competition start? Ren Jianren was stunned. Wait, I still have to warm up. You have warmed up before, but I haven't warmed up yet. As Yang Ming said this, he began to jump like a boxer. Don't tell me you don't want me to warm up. Do you want to bully me? You are hot. Ren Jianren was about to explode after hearing this. Are you kidding me? So he relaxed his tense nerves and watched Yang Ming warming up. After about 5 or 6 minutes, Yang Ming's head was full of sweat. Ren Jianren finally couldn't help it. Are you done warming up? Done. Yang Ming nodded and stopped warming up. Ren Jianren was about to attack, but he heard Yang Ming say, wait, I just exercised for a long time and sweated a lot. I am a little cold now. Why are you so troublesome? Ren Jianren said angrily and stopped his attack. Don't tell me you want me to catch a cold. Are you harboring ulterior motives? Do you want to win by hook or by crook? Yang Ming pretended to be surprised and asked. Fuck. Then do what you want to do. Ren Jianren was a little helpless. What is this guy doing? Is he deliberately stalling for time? Where is my coat? Yang Ming looked around the stage. When he went on stage, he threw his coat down. It's here. Zhang Bin took Yang Ming's coat and quickly ran to the stage. Yang Ming took the coat and whispered, "Is everything ready? Be careful. According to what we said before, the things are in the big left pocket." Zhang Bin nodded and said. Yang Ming put on the coat and then fastened the buttons. He nodded to Ren Jianren and said, "You can start." Ren Jianren heaved a sigh of relief. Fuck, you're finally done. Ren Jianren jumped to the center of the field and was ready to attack. But he didn't expect Yang Ming to say, "What are you going to do?" What do you mean, what am I going to do? Of course, it is a competition. Ren Jianren asked. Before a taekwondo competition, don't both sides have to bow and salute? You are the president of the taekwondo club. You should know this common sense, right? Yang Ming said strangely. Ren Jianren was helpless. He had to stop his attack, but his lungs were about to become a balloon. You little brat, you are playing with me. I want to see how long you can drag it out. I will show you later. Ren Jianren gave Yang Ming a stiff bow, and Yang Ming followed him and bowed. Are you okay now? If you are okay, I am going to attack. Ren Jianren didn't dare to attack directly this time, but he asked tentatively. Yang Ming had already messed with him twice the size of his head. And, let me think. Yang Ming pretended to be hesitant, but he was laughing in his heart. Seeing that you are a sports student in university, I don't think your studies are that good. But I was a good student in junior high school. There is a text from Zhua Zhuan called Chao Gui's Debate. There is a very classic sentence in it. The first drum builds up the spirit, the second is weak, the third is exhausted. Looking at you now, you are already exhausted. Chapter 210. In fact, Yang Ming didn't need to do this at all. With the current Yang Ming, even if Ren Jianren's momentum was high, Yang Ming had 100 ways to kill him in an instant. In Yang Ming's view, many of Ren Jianren's tricks were flashy. There were indeed some tricks that could cause harm to people, but they weren't fatal. But Yang Ming was different. What Yang Ming learned from Fang Tian could send Ren Jianren directly to hell with just one move. However, Yang Ming couldn't do this. Killing people in front of everyone, Yang Ming wasn't that badass. So if Yang Ming wanted to win, he couldn't use a killer move. He could only find another way. In terms of a real fight, Yang Ming also knew that he might not be Ren Jianren's opponent. The last time he defeated Lu Zhaojun was purely a fluke. His tricks were completely like a hooligan's, but compared with people who had been systematically trained, it was full of flaws. Yang Ming wasn't sure whether he could win, so he had to create some things to disturb Ren Jianren's footsteps. Now it seemed that his purpose had been achieved. Ren Jianren was very impatient, but he didn't dare to make a move quickly. Well, then let's start. Yang Ming nodded and said. Are you sure you've done all those stupid things? Ren Jianren was afraid of Yang Ming. He asked again worriedly. I've done all of them. There's nothing else. Yang Ming said with certainty. Really? Ren Jianren was afraid that Yang Ming was cheating, so he had to confirm it. I say, are you wasting time? A real man should do things straightforwardly. Why are you so wishy-washy? Yang Ming waved his hand and said. Fuck. Ren Jianren felt that he was going to shine in the sun and create purple smoke. I'm wasting time. You actually said I'm wasting time. Humph. Ren Jianren snorted and began to attack. He didn't know Yang Ming's strength, so he first tested it with a kick. Regarding Ren Jinren's probing, Yang Ming didn't take it to heart and dodged it easily. However, he didn't take any offense because he knew that Taekwondo not only had offensive moves, but also defensive moves. Now that the enemy's strength was very strong, it was difficult to guarantee that he wouldn't use any flaws when he attacked. After a few punches and kicks, Ren Jianren saw that Yang Ming didn't attack except to dodge. He Jianren was anxious. At this time, there were a lot of doubts. This is Taekwondo. It's nothing. Yeah, there is nothing special. I think it's just showy but impractical, to Yang to hear to Yang to him to hear to suddenly to say, to him to himself to see him set off. To him to hear to. Be careful. What? Ren Jianren was stunned, but when he saw that Yang Ming didn't move, he thought that he was tricked by Yang Ming. Just as he was about to continue to attack, he suddenly saw a huge brick in Yang Ming's hand. He didn't know when it appeared, but he suddenly saw a huge brick in Yang Ming's hand. Paw! With a loud explosion, Ren Jianren fell down with blood all over his face. Hee, idiot, I told you I was going to use my ultimate move. Do you think you are the successor of the Golden Bell Shield? Yang Ming threw the brick to the side and laughed disdainfully. The people in the audience were stunned for a long time before they realized that the winner of this match had been decided. They couldn't help but sigh. Immediately, some people criticized Yang Ming's move was simply rogue. How could he bring a brick to the stage? However, the voices of opposition were overwhelming. Yang Ming said before that his tactic was the brick-breaking martial art. How could he be considered a scoundrel when he had already stated his strategy in advance? This is the performance of his noble character. He won openly. Yes. And I saw it just now. Yang Ming had already reminded him before he made the move. He said that he was going to use his ultimate move, but Ren Jianren didn't listen. Who can he blame? He reminded you. You deserve to lose. I think Yang Ming is smart. He fought Ren Jianren with his wits. He didn't practice Taekwondo. He is definitely not Ren Jianren's opponent, so he can only win with his wits. With these leading voices of opposition, everyone immediately stood on Yang Ming's side. Because what he said was reasonable. It was indeed the case. So, the poor Ren Jianren not only lay on the ground with a bloody head, but also had to endure everyone's sarcastic remarks. There was not even a word of sympathy. At this point, Yang Ming also breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that the plan is perfect. Since the incident where Wang Jitao framed him, Yang Ming had matured a lot and considered the problem more thoroughly. It wasn't enough to blindly rely on brute force. Many times, intelligence was the key to victory. So, in this competition, Yang Ming and Zhang Bin planned for a long time and finally came up with such a farce of the brick-breaking martial art. The previous appearance seemed to be a claptrap, but it was actually a very crucial step. First, it could pave the way for some of the later things. The beginning was a farce, so it wasn't abrupt to stage a farce like the brick-breaking martial art. From a psychological point of view, it was easy for everyone to accept. Second, and the most important point, was to let Zhang Bin put a prepared brick in the pocket of the shirt that he threw down. When Yang Ming warmed up, he could say that he felt cold after sweating and put it on again. So, there was the farce of Yang Ming's warm-up and the couplet on his body. The couplet on the body was also crucial. If there was no couplet, everyone might think that Yang Ming's moves were too vulgar. But now, Yang Ming had told the opponent before the game that his killing move and tactics were the brick-breaking martial art. So, if he hit the opponent with the brick, it was called fair and square. Therefore, these seemingly messy little farces were actually closely linked. Every single one of them was extremely important, and not a single one could be missing. Yang Ming was like a victorious king, standing on the stage and waving to everyone. Since it was a farce, there naturally had to be an end. It was best to have a beginning and an end. So, when Yang Ming waved, the god of gamblers, Gao Jin, played the song when he won the World King of Gamblers tournament in the stadium. Wow! It's so cool. Many female students under the stage cast an excited look at Yang Ming. Thank you. Yang Ming waved and said to the people under the stage, "Thank you for your support. It's not that I'm too strong, it's that the opponent is too weak. Don't worship me too much." Chen Mengyan under the stage glared at Yang Ming. Isn't he too arrogant? However, when Yang Ming won, Chen Mengyan was relieved. As a matter of fact, her heart was in her throat just now. In contrast, on the other side of the stadium, a girl was so calm from the beginning to the end. "Jia, why aren't you worried? Aren't you afraid that Yang Ming will lose?" Wang Shui asked curiously. "He won't lose." Zhou Jia smiled faintly. "Yang Ming is a person who doesn't admit defeat. You know him so well." Wang Shui asked with a smile. "Maybe, or maybe, he has changed." Zhou Jia shook her head. "He has changed. That's great, you can finally forget about him, right?" Wang Shui seemed to be relieved. "No, I mean, he has become more attractive to me." Zhou Jia rolled her eyes at Wang Shui. "Ah." Wang Shui shook her head in disbelief. Yang Ming wanted to leave, but suddenly a group of people with notepads, microphones, digital cameras and even video cameras swarmed up. "Hello, Yang Ming, I'm from the school's TV station. Can I interview you?" "I'm from the school newspaper, I'm from the campus radio station." "Wait, the interview is fine, but you have to do it one by one." Zhang Bin protected Yang Ming, acting like a bodyguard and agent. Yang Ming was a little amused. Zhang Bin was quite funny. There was no such plan in advance, but he could adapt to the situation. In fact, Zhang Bin saw Yang Ming beat Ren Jianren, so he vented his anger in his heart. He also used Yang Ming's reputation to show off, so he was so proactive. Now, let's start answering the reporters' questions. Everyone line up and ask one by one. Each person can only ask 2 questions. Mr. Yang's time is limited, please understand. Zhang Bin said in a very arrogant manner. These reporters were a little amused when they heard it, but they couldn't show it. Yang Ming was a big news, so they had to interview him. Thinking of the task given to them by their station head, president, and station master, these student reporters had to line up properly and interview Yang Ming one by one. "Student Yang Ming, how did you come up with this method to deal with Ren Jianren?" Reporter A couldn't wait to ask. In fact, Reporter A's question was also what everyone wanted to ask, so they also took out their notebooks and recording pens and waited attentively for Yang Ming to answer. Chapter 211. In fact, this is very simple. Brick-breaking martial arts. This is an old saying from. Anyway, it came from the mouth of an ancient celebrity. So, I am doing this to promote Chinese traditional and ancient culture. Yang Ming boasted shamelessly. Brick-breaking martial arts is actually an internet catchphrase, which has only been around for a few years. But these reporters didn't care so much. They just recorded what Yang Ming said. As for whether to edit it or not, it was someone else's business. They were only responsible for the interview. Student Yang Ming, did you think that you could defeat the president of the Taekwondo club before? Why do you have so much courage? Reporter B asked. Do you still need to ask? I have already said that it's not that I am too strong, it's that my opponent is too weak. So, it's natural for him to be defeated by me. Yang Ming said. Student Yang Ming, aren't you afraid that they will continue to challenge you afterwards? Reporter C asked. What am I afraid of? I am not afraid of boasting. Even if they train for another 10 years. Their heads aren't a match for the brick. Yang Ming laughed. The reporters were speechless. Isn't this nonsense? How can the head be a match for the brick? Not to mention 10 years of training, even if they train for 20 years, they will be lying on the ground after being hit by the brick. They asked Yang Ming some more questions. Yang Ming made up a bunch of nonsense and didn't say anything useful. But everyone also returned from a rewarding journey. This kind of gossip news didn't need much authenticity. Everyone was just watching for fun. Recently, our novel's female lead, Little Meng Yan, has been troubled by something. Especially when she saw the relationship between Zhao Cixi and Zhang Bin improve by leaps and bounds. The two of them were about to be together. Chen Mengyan was very upset. Until one day, Zhao Cixi blushed and told Chen Mengyan that Zhang Bin was going to treat her to Western food in the evening, but it seemed like she was going to spend the night outside. Zhao Cixi couldn't decide whether to go or not, so she looked for Chen Mengyan to discuss it. Chen Mengyan couldn't say anything about this kind of thing. She just reminded her. Anyway, in the end, the girl would be the one to suffer. She had to think carefully. If she really planned to be with Zhang Bin in the future, then it wouldn't hurt to go. Thus, Little Mingyan's worries arose. When the two of them were in their 3rd year of high school, although she had not established a relationship with Yang Ming kept making moves on her. He even asked her to help him solve that problem. And after that, he even wanted to invite her to his house. But now, after going to college, although she had established a relationship with Yang Ming and their relationship had improved, the physical language was much less. Chen Mengyan was not the kind of girl who was casual, but she could still accept the intimacy between lovers. She also looked forward to it. According to Zhao Cixi, Zhang Bin had already kissed her when they were watching a movie. Chen Mengyan asked Zhao Cixi what it felt like to kiss. Zhao Cixi said strangely, it felt very strange. Mengyan, it's not like you and Yang Ming haven't kissed before. Why are you asking me? Chen Mengyan could only smile bitterly. She and Yang Ming had not even kissed before. Although Chen Mengyan had always kept her chastity, now that she had decided to be Yang Ming's girlfriend, it meant that she had completely accepted Yang Ming physically and mentally. Chen Mengyan was not an antique. She did not reject the passionate kiss between lovers, but Yang Ming did not cross the line. Chen Mengyan, as a girl, couldn't be too proactive, right? Now, Chen Mengyan heard that Zhao Cixi and Zhang Bin had developed to the point where they were going to get a room. How could she not be disappointed? In fact, she had been with Yang Ming longer than them, but now, there seemed to be no substantial progress between the two of them. In fact, I also liked Zhang Bin very much. He also said that he would marry me in the future. Zhao Cixi said very seriously, moreover, I have also seen his father. His father is still very satisfied with me. I think that for this kind of thing, it doesn't matter whether it is earlier or later. Moreover, we have already seen each other naked, but we haven't reached the last step. After listening to Zhao Cixi's words, Chen Mengyan felt even more uncomfortable. Is my body so unattractive to Yang Ming? Chen Mengyan was not a fool. She could usually see what other people did when they were in love on some forums. Even if the two people did not have the last step of the relationship, they usually kissed and hugged. But now, Yang Ming was like a pervert in high school who suddenly became a gentleman. How could Chen Mengyan not be worried? After Zhao Cixi left, Chen Mengyan was absent-minded on the internet. She looked at similar relationship posts in the Maopu community. Men are all lustful animals. They all have needs. If your husband or boyfriend is always respectful to you, then you have to be careful. He may have an affair. Looking at the content of the post, Chen Mengyan had a headache. She frowned and turned off the web page and computer. Then she decided to get up and take a walk on campus to calm down by herself. In the dormitory, Yang Ming was helping Zhang Bin with his hair. Yang Ming, what do you think of my hairstyle? Zhang Bin looked in the mirror and fiddled with it from time to time. It's not bad, but I say, it's not the first time you went on a date with Zhao Cece. Do you need to do this? Yang Ming asked puzzledly. Today's meaning is different. It's very likely that I will take Zhao Cece down in one fell swoop. Zhang Bin said with a sly smile. Damn, one fell swoop. Don't get impotent by then. Yang Ming scolded. Ha, that's impossible. I even have Viagra ready. Zhang Bin said, do you want me to give you some? Damn, I don't need it. I'm born strong. What Yang Ming said was the truth. The time he spent with Lan Ling was getting longer and longer. This was an incredible thing. Theoretically speaking, the amount of time each person could persist in making love with the same partner was basically fixed, and there would not be too much of a difference. But Yang Ming was doing it for longer and longer. For this, Yang Ming deliberately looked up on the internet. He did not find any similar examples, so he could only give up. After Zhang Bin left, Yang Ming was bored, so he wanted to call Chen Mengyan and ask her what she was doing. Yang Ming felt that he and Chen Mengyan should go further. The reason why Yang Ming didn't ask Chen Mengyan for anything was because of Lan Ling. Secondly, he was repeatedly rejected in the association. He didn't want Chen Mengyan to think that he was with her for those things. So, other than holding hands, there was no progress. Just as he wanted to call Chen Mengyan, his phone rang. Yang Ming picked it up and looked. It was actually Lan Ling calling. Could it be that this little girl wants it again? Yang Ming just went to her place yesterday. Hello. Lan Ling, what's the matter? Yang Ming picked up the phone. There was a silence on the other side, and then Lan Ling's voice came over. Yang Ming, Lan Ling, what's wrong with you? Yang Ming was stunned. Lan Ling, who was always happy, why did her voice sound so sad today? Yang Ming, are you free? Lan Ling asked faintly. Yes, what's the matter? Yang Ming asked in a hurry. Can you accompany me for a walk? I miss you. Lan Ling hesitated and said. Okay, I'll go find you. Yang Ming felt that something was wrong with Lan Ling, but he couldn't tell what was wrong. And I'll wait for you at the entrance of the community. Lan Ling whispered. After hanging up the phone, Yang Ming quickly ran to the family area of Songjiang Industry University. His intuition told him that Lan Ling must have encountered something. Yang Ming's dormitory wasn't far from the family area. Plus, he ran there, so when Lan Ling arrived, he arrived too. Ling Ling, what's wrong with you today? Why are you acting weird? After seeing Lan Ling, Yang Ming quickly asked. Yang Ming. When Lan Ling saw Yang Ming, her eyes turned red. She directly jumped into Yang Ming's arms. Her tears fell. Yang Ming. I don't want to leave you. What's wrong, Ling Ling? Who asked you to leave? Yang Ming patted Lan Ling's shoulder and comforted her. You're my baby. How can I let you leave? We have to be together forever. Yang Ming. I won't be able to see you again. I don't want to leave. Lan Ling cried and said intermittently. At the same time, Lan Ling wasn't the only one who cried for Yang Ming. Chen Mengyan wasn't in a good mood. When she saw the intimate couples on campus, she felt irritated, so she strolled to the family area. That area was full of activities for teachers. Relatively speaking, there weren't many couples. However, when she passed by the school's residential area, she saw a figure that she couldn't be more familiar with. Chapter 212. Chen Mengyan was stunned on the spot as if she was struck by lightning. She couldn't stop her tears from flowing. All of a sudden, all the grievances and sadness came to her heart. It turned out that the reason why he treated me like this was because he had another woman. He had a replacement. It turned out that the post on the internet was right. Chen Mengyan only felt that the world was spinning. The surrounding scenery seemed to have lost its color in an instant. Only she was left standing there alone, watching her sweetheart leave her. But, since he had another woman, why did he still want to be with me? Could it be that all those sweet nothings he said to her were all fake? Chen Mengyan couldn't imagine. Ling Ling, what are you talking about? Yang Ming was a little puzzled. Why did she suddenly cry and say that she didn't want to go when she was still fine yesterday? Yang Ming. I have to leave for a while. Lan Ling said with a choked voice. Leave for a while? What's going on? Can you explain it clearly? Yang Ming was also a little anxious. Lan Ling let go of her hands that were hugging Yang Ming, then wiped her tears and said, Let's go. Walk with me. I'll tell you as we walk. Yang Ming nodded and held Lan Ling's hand. Okay. The two people walked slowly into the distance. No one noticed that not far behind them, there was a dazed girl. Ling Ling, what's going on? You cried when you saw me. I don't know what to do. Yang Ming saw that Lan Ling had calmed down and asked. Yang Ming. My grandmother came to find me. When Lan Ling said the two words grandmother, a faint smile suddenly appeared on her tear-stained face. Yang Ming was stunned. Wasn't Lan Ling's grandmother missing? Why did she appear again? But he still congratulated her. Really? That's great. You finally met your grandmother. Didn't you miss her very much? Yes. I saw my grandmother. I am very happy. She is still alive and very healthy. Lan Ling nodded and said. That's a good thing. Why are you crying? Yang Ming felt a little strange. But Grandma wants to take me away. Lan Ling's voice changed. Tears were about to fall again. She wants to take you away. Why? Could it be that your grandmother doesn't like you being with me? Do you want to separate us? Yang Ming was shocked. If Lan Ling's grandmother didn't agree, the matter between him and Lan Ling would be difficult. No, Grandma actually came a long time ago. She has been secretly observing you for a while. Lan Ling blushed and said, she knows about our matters. Lan Ling blushed because she had sex with Yang Ming. It was embarrassing enough for her grandmother to find out about this. Then, what did Grandma say about me? Yang Ming called her Grandma directly to show closeness. Grandma said that you're not bad. She's satisfied with you, but... Lan Ling paused. Grandma told me about what you usually do. Yang Ming was shocked. It can't be, right? Does this mean that Lan Ling knows about the matter between me and Chen Mengyan? Yang Ming looked at Lan Ling in shock. His expression was very complicated. Is it because of this that Lan Ling left me? Why do you have this expression? Lan Ling saw Yang Ming's strange expression and finally smiled. Actually, I already knew something, but I didn't say it. That couple t-shirt, you bought 2 sets, right? Ha! Yang Ming's footsteps were weak, and he almost fell to the ground. He looked at Lan Ling in surprise. You know about it? Lan Ling nodded gently. Originally, I didn't plan to say it. You are good to me. Why should I care so much? Now that I have to leave, there are some things that I have to tell you. Actually. Yang Ming was a bit embarrassed. It turned out that buying the couple t-shirt last time was just adding fuel to the fire. Lan Ling knew everything. I know. You and her were together in high school. I was the one who got together later. Lan Ling saw Yang Ming's expression and smiled sweetly. When I leave, you can be with her. Ling Ling, what are you talking about? I won't let you go. Yang Ming thought that Lan Ling deliberately said it out of anger and was shocked. Yang Ming, actually, Grandma took me away this time to teach me some skills. Lan Ling explained, after I learn the skills, I will still come back. Don't worry. Teach you skills. What's the matter? Yang Ming breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Lan Ling left for other important things. And, Grandma is going to teach me her skills. Lan Ling said, you may also know that voodoo is a very mysterious knowledge. It is particularly complicated to learn. It requires a specific environment and materials, so I have to go back to Yunnan with Grandma. I see. Yang Ming heard that it was a serious matter, so he didn't stop it. When can you come back? It's hard to say. I will do it as soon as possible. Grandma said that it will be a year if it is fast, 3 or 4 years if it is slow. Lan Ling said, it depends on my ability to understand. I believe that my Ling Ling is the best. Yang Ming comforted. I will work hard. Lan Ling nodded. I will leave tomorrow. Tonight, accompany me for the last time. Body language trumped all communication. The two people were entangled and intertwined on the bed. Until dawn, Yang Ming, I have asked Grandma about the voodoo. Lan Ling lay in Yang Ming's arms and said quietly. Yang Ming hugged Lan Ling and responded softly. What's wrong? Aren't you very concerned about this? Why don't you ask me? Lan Ling was a little puzzled. At this moment, I am more concerned about you. Yang Ming was telling the truth. He didn't care about the voodoo anymore. Lan Ling was touched. She was more determined to tell Yang Ming the truth. Yang Ming, let me tell you something. Actually, the voodoo won't stop you from liking other girls. What do you mean? Yang Ming was stunned. He didn't understand what Lan Ling meant. It means that as long as you have me in your heart, it will be fine. Lan Ling said slowly, as long as you love me, the voodoo won't act up. Lan Ling hesitated for a moment, but still told him the truth. Firstly, she was touched by Yang Ming's love for her. Secondly, she was going to leave soon. She was afraid that Yang Ming would be sad. If there were other girls by his side, it might lessen his pain. Lan Ling had experienced the pain of separation. She didn't want Yang Ming to be in the same pain as her. That means, as long as I have you in my heart and always love you, it won't be considered betraying you? Yang Ming asked in surprise. Lan Ling nodded and said, don't be too proud. If you dare to forget me while I am gone, you will die a horrible death. Lan Ling said to scare Yang Ming. How could I forget you? Yang Ming was delighted to hear this news. The knot in his heart was finally untied. However, this was only for a moment. What followed was a strong sense of sorrow. So, this is what the voodoo is all about. No wonder Yang Ming liked Chen Mengyan and had sex with Sun Jia, but it didn't trigger the voodoo. The reason was that Yang Ming still loved Lan Ling in his heart. Yang Ming, there is one more thing. Lan Ling clenched her teeth and decided to tell Yang Ming. Yang Ming, I am sorry. Grandmother said that this voodoo is very special. She can't remove it, because this voodoo was passed to my mother by a master. It is used to deal with unfaithful men. Ling Ling, why are you apologizing? This voodoo makes no difference to me. Even without the voodoo, I will still love you for a lifetime. Yang Ming said firmly. No, grandmother said that my voodoo is different from other voodoo. It has a side effect. Lan Ling shook her head and sighed. Side effect? Yang Ming was shocked. It can't be, right? There is a side effect. Listening to Lan Ling's tone, it doesn't seem right. Is this side effect very serious? However, he was afraid that Lan Ling would be sad, so he pretended to be indifferent and said, "What side effect? I don't feel that there is anything wrong with me. My body is great. Everything I eat is delicious." Ha! Lan Ling laughed at Yang Ming's words. Yang Ming, don't you feel it? There are some changes in your body. No. Yang Ming felt a bit strange. I don't have any changes, right? I still have 2 eyes, 2 hands, 2 ears, and 2 legs. Chapter 213. A person who is inflicted with this voodoo will have an increase in that aspect, and will need more. Lan Ling said with a red face. Ha! Yang Ming was shocked by Lan Ling's words. It can't be, right? There's an increase in that aspect? That's a good thing. I was wondering why my ability improved so much recently. I thought it was because of my training and kicking the tree every morning. I didn't expect it to be because of the voodoo. What's wrong with that? Hee hee, in the end, didn't you enjoy it too? Yang Ming laughed. He thought in his heart, it seems that my goal of having multiple wives and concubines is going to be realized. Yang Ming was a very realistic person. He never idealized his life. Although he occasionally read some YY novels, he also yearned for the life of the male lead. But yearning was just yearning. Yang Ming didn't think that it was easy for a man to have multiple wives. First of all, the coexistence of the wives was a big problem. Girls nowadays have their own opinions. Who would be stupid enough to share their husband with others? Of course, mistresses were an exception. Yang Ming didn't want such a relationship. He thought that feelings were the key when a man and a woman were together. It was only fun when the woman fell in love with him. Secondly, there was the problem of harmony in bed. When a man had multiple wives, he couldn't take care of every single one of them. Even if he took care of every single one of them, Yang Ming still had to travel between his wives every day. There was a saying that men were cows and women were land. There was no land that was plowed, only cows that died of exhaustion. The more the cow plowed, the thinner the land was. A good fire required charcoal, a good woman required a man. A man wanted sex, but he wanted his life. That was why he cherished his life and stayed away from his wives and concubines. Yang Ming didn't want to age prematurely and become a soft-footed shrimp. It seemed that this voodoo solved a crucial problem. Ha! I thought this voodoo was annoying. I didn't expect it to be such a good thing. But, you didn't understand. Lan Ling shook her head, didn't you realize? I can't satisfy you anymore. I can only barely cope in the end. Could it be because of this reason that this little loli allowed him to hook up with another wife and bring her back? Looks like it's quite possible. What's with that expression? What I said is the truth. Lan Ling looked at Yang Ming's strange expression and was somewhat baffled. It's okay. You can continue. Yang Ming said quickly. Actually, this is the effect of this voodoo. It's actually very evil. The person who is inflicted with this voodoo will have an increased ability in that area. This way, it's naturally difficult for one woman to satisfy his needs, so he has no choice but to look for other women. Grandma said that many men are animals who like the new and hate the old. Once they have a new love, they will forget about the old. At this time, the heart voodoo will activate. Lan Ling explained. When Yang Ming heard this, He was secretly alarmed and said, "It can't be. According to what you're saying, isn't this heart voodoo specifically used to harm people? It's not used to punish a heartless man, it's used to force a man to be heartless." Lon Ling nodded gently. "You can say that. So, I'm sorry, Yang Ming. I didn't mean to harm you. I didn't know the truth before, forget it. It's nothing." Yang Ming waved his hand and thought to himself, "Fortunately, I'm the kind of person who likes the new and doesn't hate the old. I'm a new generation of good men who loves the old even more when I have a new love." "But, if that's the case, isn't your mother harming you?" "Actually, my mother's life is very tragic." Lon Ling shook her head and sighed. "That year, my mother saw that my father was addicted to gambling and was very disappointed in him. So, she asked a master to teach her the voodoo method. She wanted to use this to punish my father, but in the end, she couldn't do it. Deep in her heart, she still loved my father. Grandma said that this is the tragedy of us women. Obviously, you hate a person very much, but in the end, you realize that the person you can't let go of the most is still him. Although my mother loved my father, she had already lost confidence in men. So, she didn't want me to follow her old path, so she buried the voodoo in me." "What?" Yang Ming was stunned and said with some anger, "How can a mother be like this? She did this to harm you, didn't she? How can a mother harm her own child? Did she ever think that if you found your true love in the future, but because of this voodoo, then, wouldn't she have harmed you personally?" "Yang Ming, don't scold my mother. She was a bit extreme in the past. She was too stubborn." Lon Ling shook her head and smiled. "But, God let me meet you. Why else would people say that everything is fated? That's right. A good man like me who likes the new and doesn't hate the old is rare in the new era." Yang Ming boasted and nodded. "You're really not shy." Lon Ling said coldly, "If it wasn't because of this voodoo, do you think I would be so indulgent with you?" Hee hee. Yang Ming was so happy in his heart. What is a blessing in disguise? I'm a typical example. Thinking back to my life experience, many things were a blessing in disguise. I entered the detention center, but I met the king of assassins, Fang Tian. Heavens, just give me more trouble. Yang Ming couldn't help but start to fantasize again. In fact, Yang Ming didn't need to fantasize. He was already in trouble and was on the verge of death. Chen Mengyan didn't know how she stumbled back to the dormitory. Once she entered the dormitory, she fell on her bed. "When are you leaving?" As the sky gradually became clear, Yang Ming had to face the problem of Lon Ling's departure. "In the morning, my grandmother will come to pick me up," Lon Ling said with some sadness. "Do you want me to send you?" asked Yang Ming. "No need. I'm afraid I can't bear to leave." Lon Ling shook her head. "It's still early. Sleep for a while. Both of us didn't sleep last night." Yang Ming hugged Lon Ling tightly. "And, you hug me to sleep." Lon Ling snuggled into Yang Ming's arms again. The high-intensity exercise just now made Yang Ming a little tired. In a daze, Yang Ming gradually fell asleep. When he woke up, he found that Lon Ling was no longer beside him. He didn't know when Lon Ling had quietly left. There was only a letter beside the pillow. It should be left by Lon Ling. Yang Ming slowly opened the letter. There were obvious traces of tears on it. Some of them were even not completely dry. It seemed that Lon Ling didn't leave for long. But Yang Ming wasn't going to go out to look for it. This was because it was meaningless. This time, Lon Ling was going back with her grandmother because she had something serious to do. Yang Ming couldn't interfere. He couldn't interfere. After all, reason trumped everything. "Husband, I didn't call you that, but in my heart, I have already regarded you as my husband. Looking at your smiling face, I couldn't bear to wake you up. I'm leaving. Don't miss me too much. I will be back soon. Ling Ling only hopes that you won't forget me when I'm away. Love, Ling Ling. The letter was short, but the lines were full of Lan Ling's affection. Yang Ming carefully put away the letter and got up from the bed. Lan Ling didn't take most of the things she bought in Songjiang. She only took some clothes. But the laptop was taken away by Lan Ling. Yang Ming smiled faintly. It seemed that this little loli would definitely contact me. Previously, Yang Ming had already applied for a QQ number for Lan Ling so that it was convenient for them to contact each other. Yang Ming simply cleaned up the house, locked the door, and left. It seemed that he couldn't come here for a while. Although he woke up late today, Yang Ming still didn't want to give up training. It was just that today's time was a little shorter. After eating breakfast in the cafeteria, he returned to the dormitory. He saw Tian Donghua brushing his teeth, so he asked, "Where is Zhangbin?" "Fuck, both of you fucking lost your humanity with the opposite sex. You left me alone in an empty room." Tian Donghua threw a resentful look at Yang Ming. "Fuck." Yang Ming looked at him with disgust. "You little brat, isn't it easy to find a girl? Isn't there a prostitute in the Golden Sea Bath not far from the school? AI. Bitches are heartless, actors are unrighteous. I'm looking forward to you and Zhangbin. You can find such a good girlfriend." Tian Donghua sighed. "Could it be that I don't get the attention of girls? You are always in the dormitory playing computer games. Who would pay attention to you?" Yang Ming laughed and said, "It has been so long since school started. How many classes have you attended?" "That's true. Let's go. I will accompany you to class," Tian Donghua said. "Fuck, you are a sophomore. Why are you mixing with me, a freshman?" Yang Ming was stunned. Chapter 214. My class is full of idiots. I don't want to bother with them, Tian Donghua said. Then let's go, but let me tell you in advance. The quality of the pretty girls in our class is very bad. Yang Ming reminded him. It doesn't matter. I'll just go out and get some fresh air, Tian Donghua said. Yang Ming was now a celebrity. People would pay attention to him wherever he went. Look, isn't that Yang Ming? He's the ruthless person in the brick-breaking martial arts. Although the competition was held among the people, it still attracted the attention of the school because of its degree of sensation. Fortunately, the two parties kept silent afterward. No matter whether they won or lost, they didn't cause any other trouble. Naturally, the school couldn't intervene. After all, it was now a university. The school had to keep some autonomy for the students. Although the martial arts competition was somewhat shocking, it was just a friendly competition. The school found the Taekwondo club afterward and warned them not to cause any more trouble. Ren Jianren couldn't not listen to the school. No matter how badass he wasn't badass enough to go against the school. It was much easier to expel students from university than junior high school. Junior high school had 9 years of compulsory education. The school could only persuade but not expel. But university was different. Who would educate you? If you didn't perform well, you would get out quickly. Otherwise, according to Ren Jinren's character, it was impossible to let go of Yang Ming so easily. But it was also thanks to the intervention of the school. Otherwise, he would be rushing to his death. Yang Ming had always been a maverick. He rarely talked to the students in the class. Every time he sat in the last row, so no one paid much attention to him. Although the martial arts competition with Ren Jianren made Yang Ming popular, these students who were closest to Yang Ming were also the fastest to get over the novelty. In 2 days, they returned to normal. Those who didn't know Yang Ming were full of curiosity about him. Tian Donghua sat next to Yang Ming. Not many people paid attention. Yang Ming took out a university physics book and put it on the table. Although it was a computer science department, physics was a compulsory course. Damn, you lied to me. Tian Donghua suddenly said, isn't that Zhou Jie? Yang Ming raised his head and followed Tian Donghua's gaze. Sure enough, Zhou Jie and Wang Shui were sitting not far away. The two girls were whispering something. Yang Ming said indifferently, yes, what's wrong? Class 1. Isn't this a beauty? You actually told me that there are no beauties in the class. What are your intentions? Tian Donghua said discontentedly, this is a school belle level beauty. Really? Yang Ming asked. Is Zhou Jie very beautiful? Perhaps. Although it had been so many years, and Yang Ming didn't hate Zhou Jie so much in his heart, the grudge between them hadn't been resolved yet. What do you mean by that? That's right. Tian Donghua said disdainfully, you wouldn't want to keep it for yourself to enjoy. Oh. By the way, I remember now. At that time, there was an uproar on the internet. They said that the reason why you had a feud with the Taekwondo club was because of Zhou Jie. It turned out to be like this. I understand now. There must be something going on between you two. Big brother, isn't your analytical ability too strong? If you were a detective, how many unjust and false cases would you create? Yang Ming rolled his eyes. You are simply a copy of Maori Kagoro. You don't have to hurt me like this, right? Tian Donghua said with a smile, I just said a fact. Alright, Zhou Jie is yours. I know it well. I won't talk about this anymore. Yang Ming shook his head helplessly. He knew that the more he explained, the more he wouldn't understand. It was better to keep silent. Why? You don't want to talk about it now. Tian Donghua saw that Yang Ming was silent and continued, you don't have to worry. You can't covet your friend's wife. I won't have any bad thoughts about her. Yang Ming was completely speechless. I can't be silent. Tian Donghua and Yang Ming hit it off very well. He also changed his young master style because he knew that this was the only way to get a true friendship in university. If he always had an overbearing look, he would definitely be hated. Speak of the devil, and he will appear. Sun Jiwei came over with an arrogant look. Yang Ming, this Saturday is Song Jiang's 5 Disciplines and 4 Beauties Day. The school and the city administration jointly organized a promotional activity. Each class selected a few student representatives to go to the train station to promote the 5 disciplines and 4 beauties. After the class committee decided, you have a spot. Promotion. Isn't that doing hard work? Yang Ming wasn't the kind of hot-blooded youth. He wasn't interested in these things. Perhaps some people would say that Yang Ming didn't have social ethics, but in fact, Yang Ming wasn't a good student. He was just a hooligan. When he was fooling around in the streets in junior high, it was good enough that he didn't destroy public property. What about the 5 disciplines and 4 beauties? I'm not going. Yang Ming said faintly, there's no time. This spot should be given to other students. Not going. Why don't you go? This is the decision of the class committee. Sun Jiwei was a little unwilling. How could a small citizen like you refute the decision of the class committee? This thing should be voluntary, right? Tian Donghua interrupted. Oh. Humph. Sun Jiwei looked at Tian Donghua carefully and snorted. I was wondering who it was. It turned out to be the young master of the Tian family. Tian Donghua listened to Sun Jiwei's words, and his face changed. He didn't look at Sun Jiwei carefully. Now that he looked carefully, he was a little surprised. Why did this kid come to Songjiang Industry University? It turned out to be young Master Sunday. Sorry for the disrespect. Although Tian Donghua said so, he looked down on Sun Jiwei in his heart. He was just a second generation. Hee, I have heard that the young master of the Tian family committed a crime and ran away. I didn't expect to see you here. Sun Jiwei sneered. You still intend to care about this matter? Some people are so capable, right? You are obviously a servant, but you dare to show your fangs in front of the master. Tian Donghua clenched his teeth and was very angry. Isn't this Sun Jiwei a bit too sarcastic? However, I can't fall out with him, so I have to lower my head with a sullen face. Although Yang Ming didn't know the relationship between Tian Donghua and Sun Jiwei, it seemed that the two people must have known each other for a long time. The current situation was that Tian Donghua was still a little afraid of Sun Jiwei. This couldn't help but make Yang Ming a little surprised. What is the origin of this Sun Jiwei? But no matter what the origin was, Yang Ming didn't care about him now. He glanced at Sun Jiwei and didn't want to waste time with him. He said directly, I won't go. You can do whatever you want. You. Sun Jiwei didn't expect Yang Ming to refuse so simply. But you have a good plan, and I have a way. Sun Jiwei sneered. I have reported the name list to Instructor Xia. He has reported the name list to the school. If you don't want to go, you can talk to him yourself. After that, Sun Jiwei turned and left. There was a smirk at the corner of his mouth. Little guy, can't I deal with you? You just wait and see how I will trick you in the future. In the future, I will push this kind of rubbish to you. Motherfucker, are you deliberately going against me? Yang Ming was a little annoyed. However, since it had already been reported to the instructor, Yang Ming wouldn't really argue with the instructor. It wasn't worth it. Forget it. Publicity is publicity. But Sun Jiwei, right? You have to be careful in the future. It's dark outside and the road is slippery. It's easy to be robbed. After Sun Jiwei left, Yang Ming looked at Tian Donghua and asked, You called him young master son? Yes. Tian Donghua smiled bitterly. Sun Jiwei, I didn't expect it to be him. What happened? Yang Ming asked, Is his family very powerful? His family is also in Donghai City. It can't be described as powerful. It's very powerful. Tian Donghua sighed. I can't mess with this person. You better not provoke him in the future. Yang Ming frowned. I can't be so unlucky, right? Wang Jitao hasn't been dealt with yet, and now there's another badass character. However, Donghai City is still a distance from Songjiang City. His family can't reach so far. Otherwise, it's impossible that I haven't heard of it. In this case, I won't go to Donghai City for the time being. Sun Jiwei can't do anything to me. Are you thinking that his family has power in Donghai City and no power in Songjiang? Tian Donghua saw through Yang Ming's thoughts. Isn't that so? Asked Yang Ming. This is not bad. The Sun family does have a branch in Songjiang, but it's not as powerful as in Donghai. It was only established in recent years. However, Sun Jiwei is a narrow-minded person. Do you see it? He will trick you on such a small matter. You can't stand it. Tian Donghua reminded. It's okay. I'll just go out and train. Yang Ming wasn't afraid of this kind of revenge on campus. As long as he didn't use social relations, Yang Ming wasn't afraid. Yang Ming was now much more mature than before. If Wang Jitao wanted to trick him again, it wouldn't be so easy. Moreover, Yang Ming's identity wasn't ordinary now. If you really annoyed him, he could just kill you directly. Chapter 2:15. Yang Ming wasn't just learning killing techniques from Fang Tian. What he was learning now was how to cover up the scene after killing someone and how to deal with the body. This was also a very important knowledge. After killing someone, the corresponding cover-up not only required high skills, but also a very good psychological quality. What made Yang Ming dumbfounded was that Fang Tian asked Dong Jun to get a lot of dead bodies from somewhere for Yang Ming to learn how to deal with them. It was said that these were from a medical university in another place. In addition to using the corpse powder, there were many ways to deal with the body. The corpse powder was used as a last resort. According to Fang Tian, the corpse powder was very precious and rare. Moreover, it wasn't something that he could make. This corpse powder is from your ancestor, who is also my master. He was indebted to an elder of the Miao tribe. He was a master of voodoo. This corpse powder was given to your ancestor by him. Fortunately, the amount of this thing was not much each time. It was used until my generation, but only half of it was used. Fang Tian said, after I give it to you, you must use it sparingly. If you use it up, there won't be any left. Miao tribe. Voodoo. Yang Ming's heart trembled as he thought of Lan Ling. I don't know if she is doing well now. I have been gone for so long. Why hasn't she contacted me yet? Now, she should have reached Yunnan, right? Fang Tian saw that Yang Ming's expression was a bit strange. Naturally, he didn't know that he was having a headache because of Lan Ling. He thought that Yang Ming was curious about the connection between the voodoo and the corpse powder, so he explained, in fact, this corpse powder is also a kind of voodoo. Voodoo is a kind of bacteria or bug cultivated by the Miao people. You can see this from the word voodoo. The so-called voodoo is the word bug in the word utensil. In other words, the bug in the utensil is a voodoo. This corpse powder is a kind of voodoo. It isn't a chemical. Even sulfuric acid isn't so corrosive. This is a kind of bacteria. It is usually in a dormant state. When it encounters a human body, it will wake up and quickly grow and reproduce, swallowing the human body. When it leaves the carrier of the human body, it will quickly die and vaporize. It can't be collected and used again. This thing is actually not rare in the hands of the Miao people. It is said that during the war between the white and black Miao, this corpse powder was used to quickly dispose of the enemy's body. Yang Ming nodded and thought, perhaps Lan Ling's grandmother knows how to make this kind of thing. Because of Lan Ling, Yang Ming woke up a little later in the morning. Therefore, the fixed training time every day was shortened. He didn't want to give up halfway, so he decided to use the time at night to continue strengthening himself. When it came to speed and strength, if one didn't advance, they would regress. At least, that was the case in the beginning. Yang Ming didn't want to develop his laziness. Thinking of this, Yang Ming walked towards the small forest north of the school. At night, the little forest seemed particularly desolate and cold. Ah! A shrill female voice cut through the silent night sky. Yang Ming was stunned. Could it be a Chinese ghost story in the middle of the night? However, Yang Ming wasn't afraid of these ghosts. He quickly flashed to the side of a tree and hid his figure. He calmly and vigilantly looked around. This was a habit that he had developed through the systematic assassin training during this period of time. When the situation was abnormal, he had to find a place to cover himself. In the dark, hiding under the shadow of a big tree was the best cover. Not only could the big tree effectively block external attacks, it would also make his target less obvious. However, no one noticed Yang Ming. Yang Ming had already determined the direction of the sound through observation. Not far away, under the moonlight, a girl in white was squatting on the ground. She was looking at a man in black with a knife in front of her in horror. Beside the girl was a small bag. The things inside were scattered all over the ground. Yang Ming used his night vision to see that the things in the bag were some straw mushrooms. "What are you doing?" The girl looked at the man in black in front of her in horror. In fact, the girl's voice wasn't loud, but in the silent night, Yang Ming could still clearly hear every word she said. Even if he couldn't hear it clearly, Yang Ming could read her lips clearly with his ability. "Take out all the valuable things on your body. Wallet, mobile phone, necklace." The man in black raised the knife in his hand and threatened. However, the man in black's voice was trembling. Yes, today was his first time robbing. He was forced to do it. Generally, people with robbing experience would never rob in such a sparsely populated forest. However, Ho Shinhan thought that robbing could only be done on small roads or in deep mountains and forests. He was too influenced by TV and novels. But it was also a coincidence. When he just arrived in the woods today, he saw a little girl squatting on the ground picking mushrooms, so Ho Shinhan took the knife and approached her. He didn't expect the little girl to suddenly shout, which shocked Ho Shinhan. However, Ho Shinhan immediately thought that this was a forest. No one would pass by, so he was relieved. He was afraid that the little girl would resist. Yes, the knife was only used to scare people. He never had any intention to kill people. If he wasn't forced by life, he wouldn't have come out to rob. Therefore, although Ho Shinhan's face was calm, his heart was surging. "I hope that she can obediently take out the money and give it to me. I really have no choice. If I wasn't waiting for the money to save my life, I wouldn't do this kind of thing." It was very strange. Yang Ming actually heard the voice of the man in black. Yang Ming was sure that he absolutely didn't speak. Yang Ming was a little annoyed. Why does my special ability only appear in very urgent situations every time? I can't calm down and think about how to use this ability. I don't have a mobile phone. Lin Jiyun subconsciously covered the pocket of her jeans with her hand. There was 1,200 yuan in it. It was the salary that she just received this month as a tutor. Now, her father's leg wasn't fully recovered. This money was used to buy medicine for him. I can't let the person in front of me take it away. However, Lin Jiyun still didn't have much social experience. Her current actions showed that she was trying to hide something. "What's in your pants pocket? Take it out and let me see." The man in black apparently noticed Lin Jiyun's action and asked. "No, nothing." Lin Jiyun said stutteringly. "Nothing. Humph. Are you going to do it yourself or are you waiting for me to do it?" The man in black obviously didn't believe it. I can't give you the money," Lin Jiyun said stubbornly. "Not giving? Why not? Aren't you afraid that I will kill you?" The man in black took a step closer. The bright knife, under the moonlight, glowed with a miserable white light. "This money, I can't give it to you. I beg you, let me go." Lin Jiyun's face showed a trace of helplessness. "Do you want money or your life?" The man in black saw that the little girl in front of him was so stubborn, and he was a little annoyed. He saw robberies in movies. When the robber moved the knife, the person who was robbed was so scared that he took the initiative to take out the money. What happened to the person in front of him? Lin Jiyun clenched her teeth and said, "My money is for my father to buy medicine. I can't give it to you, buy medicine." The man in black was stunned, but then he said angrily, "You're talking nonsense. You look so white and beautiful. At first glance, I can see that you are a child of a rich family. You don't even know how to lie. Lin Jiyun was a little dumbfounded when she heard it. Does a pretty face have to come from a rich family? What kind of logic is this? However, she still had to explain, this, big brother, my money is really for my father to buy medicine. I didn't lie to you. Didn't lie to me. How can there be such a coincidence in the world? I came out to rob money just to treat my mother's illness. You, on the other hand, are buying medicine for your father. At this point, Yang Ming also understood why this man in black wanted to rob. It turned out that there was a reason. However, why does that girl look so familiar? Where have I seen her before? Yang Ming's eyesight was much better than that of the man in black. It was dark at night, and the man in black couldn't see Lin Jiyun's clothes. If it was during the day, he could see that she was wearing some cheap street goods, and her clothes were washed a little white. Can this kind of person be rich? However, Yang Ming could see clearly that what this girl said might be the truth. These two pitiful people. Yang Ming shook his head. Originally, he was going to use violent means to subdue or kill the man in black. But now, he had to change his mind. Yang Ming sighed and walked in the direction of the man in black and the girl. As he walked, he said loudly, "How much do you want?" Chapter 216. Ah. Ho Jinhan was shocked. My God, why are there people around here? When he looked back and saw the tall and mighty figure of Yang Ming, he couldn't help but think that it wasn't good. Although Ho Jinhan was retired from the special forces, he usually couldn't get close to 3 or 4 people. But now he was robbing. He couldn't help but feel guilty. If it was only one person, he could threaten with a knife. But with another one, Ho Jinhan was a little powerless. He was afraid that Yang Ming would call the police. You, who are you? Don't come over. Ho Jinhan said as he approached Lin Jiyun with the knife. If you come over again, I will kill her. I am a student of this school. Yang Ming said with a smile, I passed by here and saw this scene. Passed by here? Who are you lying to? Why did you come to this kind of place? Oh, right, you must know this woman. You saw that she didn't come back for a long time, so you came to find her, right? Ho Jinhan analyzed. Your ability in the association is quite strong. I don't know her. Yang Ming shook his head. But, don't you want money? It's the same as who you want it from. How much do you want? Just say a number. When Lin Jiyun heard Yang Ming say that he didn't know her, she was slightly relieved. It seemed that he had completely forgotten her. However, Lin Jiyun had some feelings of melancholy. You want to give me money? Ho Jinhan was obviously an inexperienced person. Otherwise, he wouldn't ask such a question. Yes, before I change my mind, you'd better not question it. Yang Ming said faintly. You, really, then I want 2,000 yuan. Can you give it to me? Ho Jinhan asked stutteringly. In fact, 1,000 yuan was enough for the surgery fee. He wanted 2,000 yuan because he was afraid of accidents. You tell me what you want the money for. If it is really useful, then I will give it to you. Yang Ming said with an unquestionable tone. The reason why Yang Ming stood here and said these words to him was that Yang Ming accidentally saw his thoughts. A person's thoughts wouldn't lie unless this person was suffering from paranoia. Yang Ming also saw that this person was anxious to get money for his mother's treatment, so he said so much to him. My mother had acute appendicitis. After she was sent to the hospital, she had to be operated on immediately, but I didn't have money. If I didn't have money, the hospital wouldn't operate on my mother. My mother was in so much pain in the hospital. They just used analgesics to control it. In fact, it didn't work at all. Ho Jinhan said miserably, I went out to raise money. I went to all the places I could think of, but it was so late. Where could I get the surgery fee? Yang Ming nodded. He knew that acute appendicitis couldn't be delayed. If it perforated, it would be terrible. So, he nodded and looked into Ho Jinhan's eyes and said word by word, I hope what you said is true. I swear. Ho Jinhan quickly raised his right hand and pretended to swear. No need. Yang Ming shook his head. He took out his wallet from his pocket. He counted out 2,000 yuan and handed it to Ho Jinhan. You go quickly. This illness can't be delayed, ah. Are you really giving it to me? This time, it was Ho Jinhan's turn to be in disbelief. He looked at Yang Ming in a daze. He was somewhat at a loss. When Yang Ming saw Ho Jinhan's expression, he was slightly relieved. Yang Ming was now considered a small tycoon. He usually had nearly 10,000 yuan in his wallet. After Ho Jinhan saw it, he didn't have any crooked thoughts. Obviously, he wasn't an evil person. Yang Ming's nerves had been completely stretched. If Ho Jinhan dared to do anything greedy, he would not hesitate to stop him. Yes, you don't want it? Yang Ming asked with a smile. Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. Ho Jinhan quickly thanked him. Hurry to the hospital. Don't waste time here. Yang Ming shook his head indifferently. At this time, 2,000 yuan was nothing to him. Benefactor, please accept Ho Jinhan's bow. Ho Jinhan's heart was full of unprecedented gratitude to Yang Ming. In this era of material desires, who would give you money for no reason? As Ho Jinhan said this, he bowed to Yang Ming. Yang Ming was shocked. Is it necessary? He quickly wanted to help Ho Jinhan up, but he didn't expect Ho Jinhan's strength to be so strong. Yang Ming used 30% of his strength, but he couldn't help him. Yang Ming frowned slightly. If he used his full strength, he might be able to help this person up, but Yang Ming didn't want to compete with him, so he accepted his bow. Benefactor, I will go first. Can Benefactor leave me your name and address? Ho Jinhan saw that Yang Ming's face was a little strange. He was afraid that Yang Ming would misunderstand, so he quickly explained, Benefactor, don't misunderstand. I mean, if I have money in the future, I will return the money to you. Yang Ming nodded and said, It's rare for you to be so thoughtful. My name is Yang Ming. I'm from the Computer Science Department, Level 08 Class 2. You can come to me. Of course, if you don't have enough money, you can also come to me. Yang Ming felt that Ho Jinhan's self-esteem was very strong, so he told him the address. Okay, I remember. My name is Ho Jinhan. After Ho Jinhan finished, he turned and left quickly. I didn't scare you, right? Yang Ming turned around and said to Lin Jiyun, who was a little stunned. I am fine. Lin Jiyun shook her head. Did you really give him the money? Why not? Maybe his mother is really hospitalized, and he really needs the money. Yang Ming said with a smile, You also saw it. He only asked for 2,000. I have so much money in my wallet, but he didn't have the slightest interest. This proves that he isn't a real robber. Maybe. Lin Jiyun nodded. Yeah, who doesn't have a difficult time? In the beginning, wasn't I also forced to go on the road of selling my body? But, isn't this Yang Ming's heart a bit too good? Last time, he gave me 3,000. This time, he gave the person 2,000. Is it because his family is too rich? That's not right. Yang Ming's clothes are similar to mine. Last time, he also took the subway. Why would a rich person take the subway? What's wrong with you? Yang Ming saw that Lin Jiyun was in a daze, so he asked curiously. Was she scared out of her wits? I am fine. As Lin Jiyun said this, she bent down and began to pick up the straw mushrooms that fell on the ground. Let me help you. Yang Ming squatted down and helped Lin Jiyun pick up the straw mushrooms. This is a straw mushroom, right? Did you pick it here? Yeah, it just rained in the afternoon. There were a lot of straw mushrooms in this small forest. I picked some and prepared to go home to make soup for my father. Lin Jiyun nodded and said. Is the taste of the straw mushroom good? I haven't eaten it yet. Yang Ming said to himself. It's very delicious. It's much better than those artificially cultivated mushrooms. Or, I will give you some. You can go back and try it. Lin Jiyun suggested. Forget it. I'm a big man. I don't know how to do it. These straw mushrooms are wasted. Yang Ming smiled. Yang Ming's original intention was, can't you just give me some when you're done with it? Anyway, I saved you, right? Oh. But Lin Jiyun just said oh and didn't say anything. Motherfucker, it seems that I'm thinking too much. Yang Ming shook his head. A hero saving a beauty isn't so efficacious. After picking up the straw mushrooms scattered on the ground, Lin Jiyun said to Yang Ming with some embarrassment, just now, thank you, then I'll go first. Are you also a student of Songjiang Industry University? Asked Yang Ming. Lin Jiyun nodded. Then let's go together. I'll go back too. In fact, it was because this trail was quite bad at night. They just encountered a robbery, so Yang Ming was a little worried. He might as well be a good person to the end and help the Buddha until the end. But I have to go home now, to make soup for my father, said Lin Jiyun. It's so late. How are you going back? Yang Ming looked at the phone and said, it's already 10 o'clock. You still want to go home? My home isn't far from here. I can walk back. Lin Jiyun said. Forget it. Where is your home? I'll send you back. Yang Ming had nothing to do. It's so late. Letting a girl go home by herself, Yang Ming felt that this was a bit inappropriate. I'm also a man. Ah. Lin Jiyun was stunned. What does he mean? Could it be that he also... Lin Jiyun, who was the campus belle since high school, had many suitors around her. Originally, Lin Jiyun thought that Yang Ming wasn't a boy who was greedy for her appearance. She didn't expect. But, it's impossible. Then why did he buy my first night and leave? Lin Jiyun was a little confused. Chapter 217. Yang Ming saw Lin Jiyun's expression and understood. Maybe this girl had just been robbed, so she didn't trust him. So he smiled and said, my name is Yang Ming. I'm also a student at Songjiang Industry University. I'm in computer science level 08. This is my student ID. As Yang Ming said this, he reached into his pocket. No, you don't have to take it. I didn't mean that. How could Lin Jiyun not know Yang Ming? This man gave her an unforgettable impression, but it was very late now. She didn't want to trouble Yang Ming. Yang Ming was stunned. He suddenly looked at Lin Jiyun carefully and said in surprise, I know you. Ah. Lin Jiyun was shocked by Yang Ming's sudden words. She almost jumped out. He knows me. Could it be? He remembered. Lin Jiyun's heart was in a panic. She didn't know if it was because of fear or shyness, but her face was slightly flushed. You How, do you know me? Lin Jiyun asked stutteringly. When Yang Ming saw Lin Jiyun's expression, he thought it was because of her surprise. He didn't put it in his heart, so he explained, yeah, were you robbed by a gangster at the commercial street last time? So he was talking about this. Lin Jiyun breathed a sigh of relief and nodded. Then she pretended to be suddenly enlightened and said, oh, I remember. You were the person who helped me catch the bad guy last time. That's right, what a coincidence. But you're really unlucky to have been robbed twice. Yang Ming shook his head. It's true that kind people are bullied. This gang of robbers specifically picked the weak to bully. If they have the guts, why don't they rob me? However, the robbers weren't stupid. Yang Ming was such a tall and strong person. Who would want to find trouble with him? Of course, they would pick the soft persimmon to bully. Hee, thank you, for saving me twice. Lin Jiyun said in her heart. In fact, it was 3 times. It was just one of them. We don't owe each other anymore, right? Although you didn't want it at that time, you got what you deserved after that. Lin Jiyun was very conflicted. From the bottom of her heart, she felt that Yang Ming was a good person. Subconsciously, she also wanted to have more contact with this boy. Regardless of whether she had feelings for him or not, a woman would always have a special feeling for the man who took her first time. However, rationally, Lin Jiyun told herself that they didn't owe each other anything. She didn't want Yang Ming to despise her for what she had done in the past after knowing the truth. Because Lin Jiyun felt that betraying herself was a very despicable thing. Since Yang Ming didn't recognize her, then she didn't need to take the initiative to reveal it. Oh right, what's your name? We've met so many times, but I still don't know your name. Yang Ming asked as he walked. My name is Shen Lin. Lin Jiyun didn't know why this name came out of her mouth. She subconsciously told Yang Ming a fake name. She was afraid that Yang Ming would think of something when he heard her name. The name Shen Lin was a combination of her parents' surnames. Her mother's surname was Shen, and her father's surname was Lin. However, this name was quite nice. It sounded like a girl's name. Shen Lin. Hee, nice to meet you. Yang Ming naturally didn't realize that Lin Jiyun was lying to him, so he naturally thought that Shen Lin was Lin Jiyun's real name. The two people walked to the school gate. Lin Jiyun said, Yang Ming, thank you. You can just send me here. I will walk back by myself, it's so late. How can I be relieved if you walk by yourself? If I didn't know, it would be fine. Since I already know, if I let you go back alone and something happens to you, wouldn't my conscience be hurt? Yang Ming said. But, if you send me off, how are you going to come back? Lin Jiyun asked. Don't worry. I have a car. Yang Ming took out Zhang Bin's car key from his pocket. There were 2 sets of car keys. Zhang Bin gave Yang Ming a set, so Yang Ming also had a car key. Lin Jiyun was even more confused. Yang Ming didn't look like a child from a rich family. How did he even have a car? Last time, didn't I see him taking the subway? It's a dorm mate's car. We will drive together. Yang Ming saw that Lin Jiyun was a little surprised, so he explained. Oh. Lin Jiyun nodded. Yang Ming had already opened the remote control of the car door. She couldn't refuse Yang Ming's kindness. She got in the car with Yang Ming. Yang Ming started the car and asked, Where do you live? Shanty Town. Since they were already in the car, Lin Jiyun couldn't hide it anymore. What? Yang Ming was stunned. Isn't Shanty Town where Fong Tian lives? It takes nearly 20 minutes to get there from here. If you walk, you can take the shortcut, but it will take at least half an hour. It's so far away. You said it's nearby. I. Lin Jiyun's face was slightly red. She didn't deliberately lie to Yang Ming. She was just afraid that Yang Ming would be worried, so she said that. It's not very far. If we walk faster, we can still reach home in half an hour. Come on, then you have to take the shortcut, right? There aren't even street lights. It's so late. Aren't you afraid of encountering bad guys again? Yang Ming shook his head and said. I have been there before. It's okay. Right, how do you know to take the shortcut? Lin Jiyun was a little puzzled. I have been there before. It seems that your luck is a bit bad, right? In such a short time, you have been robbed twice. Yang Ming smiled and said, I have a friend who lives there. Yang Ming was already familiar with the location of Shanty Town. He didn't need Lin Jiyun to guide him. He drove there easily. You have a friend there? Lin Jiyun asked curiously, who is it? I know almost all the neighbors there. You may not know this friend of mine. He just got out of prison not long ago. Yang Ming said perfunctorily. Just got out of prison. Are you talking about Uncle Fong? Lin Jiyun thought about it and asked. Do you know Fong Tian? Yang Ming smiled bitterly. It seems that Lin Jiyun knows a lot of people. Uncle Fong is a good person. When I was young, he even hugged me. Lin Jiyun nodded and said, later, I heard from my family that Uncle Fong was framed and went to prison. Until a while ago, I heard that he got out. I even went to see him. Yang Ming didn't expect Lin Jiyun and Fong Tian to have such a relationship. He shook his head and thought, this world is really small. Yang Ming didn't want to continue this topic because there were some secrets between him and Fong Tian that couldn't be known by others. The more you talk, the more likely you are to slip up. Although Yang Ming was very careful, it was better to talk less about this kind of thing. So Yang Ming took the initiative to change the topic. Is your father sick? Lin Jiyun was shocked. She thought that Yang Ming recognized her, but when she saw that Yang Ming's expression was normal, she thought that Yang Ming might have heard the conversation between her and the robber named Ho Jinhan. It's not a big deal. He just can't walk yet. Try not to go to such a remote place at night. Yang Ming didn't ask much. He just said, you are a girl. It's better to be careful. Today, this person is just looking for money. If you encounter a rapist, won't you lose a lot? I know. Lin Jiyun said in her heart, rapist. Yes, I was indeed robbed once. But the person who robbed me was you. You really are a shameless braggart. But Lin Jiyun couldn't say this out loud. Lin Jiyun sighed. She thought that after that incident, she would have nothing to do with him and never see him again. She didn't expect to meet him in university. In fact, it wasn't a big deal to be in the same university. Many students in the same school or even in the same batch didn't know each other. But after a few coincidences, I actually became friends with Yang Ming. Now, we should be friends, right? Forget it. I don't want to think about these annoying things. Lin Jiyun shook her head. She thought, let nature take its course. As long as I don't have any interaction with him, it should be fine, right? Then where do you want to go? Yang Ming drove the car to the entrance of Shanty Town. Shenlin. Yang Ming saw that Lin Jiyun was in a daze, so he called her name. However, Lin Jiyun was in a trance. Yang Ming called Shenlin, so she didn't pay attention. Shenlin. Yang Ming called again. What? Lin Jiyun finally regained her senses and asked quickly. What are you thinking about? We are here. How do we go? Asked Yang Ming. Ah, sorry. I was just thinking about today's class. Lin Jiyun felt that her face was a little hot. She was lying with her eyes wide open. Turn left at the intersection in front. Lin Jiyun looked at the road and said. Chapter 218. Let's stop here. We can't go in front. Lin Jiyun pointed to the intersection in front. Yang Ming parked the car. Lin Jiyun got off, and Yang Ming followed. I will go back by myself. I won't trouble you. Lin Jiyun saw that Yang Ming didn't want to leave, so she said quickly. She didn't have any opinion about Yang Ming now, but she was afraid that when she reached home, her father would ask Yang Ming to stay. If she said her name, then she would be exposed. It doesn't matter. We are already here. I will send you to the door. Yang Ming said. Ah. No need. It's so late. You should go back. Lin Jiyun couldn't be too harsh, but she was afraid that Yang Ming wouldn't listen. She was very conflicted. Besides, I am afraid that my family will see it. It's not good. Well, I will send you somewhere nearby. I will watch you enter the door. I won't go over. Yang Ming said. Okay then. Since the words had come to this point, Lin Jiyun couldn't insist anymore. She had to nod and agree. Lin Jiyun's home wasn't very far from here. It was just through 2 small roads. Lin Jiyun said, well, my home is in front. It's the one with the lights on, and then you go over. I will watch here. Yang Ming nodded. Then, goodbye. Thank you. Lin Jiyun waved to Yang Ming. Hee, goodbye. Yang Ming said. Lin Jiyun walked to the bungalow with lights. When she opened the door of the courtyard, she heard someone say, Who is it? Dad, it's me. Lin Jiyun was shocked. She was afraid that her father would call her name, so she quickly replied. It's Lin. Come in. Father Lin said. Lin Jiyun's nickname was Lin. Lin Jiyun was relieved. Shen Lin could also be called Lin, so Yang Ming shouldn't suspect anything. Yang Ming really didn't think much about it. After watching Lin Jiyun enter the house, he turned around and left. On the way back to school, Yang Ming remembered that Qin Mengyan hadn't contacted him for the whole day. Logically speaking, she should have sent him a text message. Yang Ming took out his phone and looked at it. There were no new messages or missed calls, so he called Qin Mengyan. He didn't expect Qin Mengyan's phone to be turned off. Qin Mengyan usually doesn't turn off her phone for 20 hours. Yang Ming looked at the time. It was exactly 11 o'clock. Usually, college students wouldn't be sleeping at this time. Other than Yang Ming's luxurious dormitory, ordinary dormitories had a fixed power outage at 11 o'clock every night. Therefore, the university students had developed the habit of sleeping after 11 o'clock every night. At this time, Chen Mengyan should still be awake in her dormitory. Yang Ming called Chen Mengyan's dormitory. Hello. A girl picked up the phone, but the voice obviously wasn't Chen Mengyan. This girl's voice was much worse than Chen Mengyan's. It was like a kingfisher. Hello. I'm looking for Chen Mengyan. Yang Ming said. Looking for Chen Mengyan. Who are you? Asked the kingfisher girl. I'm Yang Ming. Yang Ming replied. Most probably, Chen Mengyan's dormitory roommates should have heard of his name. You wait. The kingfisher girl said. After a while, the kingfisher girl came back and picked up the phone. Chen Mengyan asked me to tell you that she fell asleep and can't answer the phone. She said that she fell asleep. Yang Ming was stunned, and then he laughed. Okay, stop fooling around. You should pass the phone to her. With such creative words, Yang Ming naturally thought that Chen Mengyan was joking with him. Who's fooling around with you? Goodbye. Before Yang Ming could say anything, the Kingfisher girl hung up the phone. Yang Ming was a little depressed. What's going on? He quickly called again, but no one answered. He guessed that the phone line had been unplugged. Yang Ming was very puzzled. What's going on? Her phone was turned off, and she didn't answer the phone. Yang Ming shook his head, but it was so late. Yang Ming couldn't go to the girls' dormitory to see what was going on. Even if he wanted to go, the auntie at the door would definitely not let him in. Yang Ming had to go back to the dormitory first and wait for tomorrow to ask Chen Mengyan. After returning to the dormitory, Zhang Bin hadn't slept yet. He was excitedly talking to Yang Ming about something. When he saw that Yang Ming came back, he quickly stopped him. Just in time. Yang Ming, come over and talk to me. Wait for me to get a drink. Yang Ming was a little puzzled. He sat on the sofa and looked at Tian Donghua next to him. He asked, what's wrong with this guy? Is he excited? Isn't he excited? Last night, he just took his girlfriend's virginity. He is excited. Tian Donghua smiled bitterly. Damn, what is it? Yang Ming didn't have time to listen to his nonsense. He thought that Zhang Bin really had something to say. It turned out to be this matter. Yang Ming stood up and walked to his room. You just say that I have a cold. I will go back to sleep first. Damn, I will leave too. Tian Donghua gritted his teeth and stood up. He quickly went to his room and locked the door. When Zhang Bin came back to the living room with 3 bottles of Wangleji, he found that the big living room was empty. Yang Ming. Tian Donghua. Fuck. Zhang Bin raised his middle finger. That's so fucking mean. After that, he returned to his room resentfully. Zhao Cece was a woman last night. She was very tired physically and mentally. She went to bed early. That was why Zhang Bin was so bored and wanted to find someone to talk to. Right, at 11 o'clock at night, there was a radio program called Sister Fang's Emotional Hotline. Zhang Bin decided to call and talk to her. When Yang Ming returned to his room, he couldn't wait to open his laptop and log into QQ. He wanted to see if there was a message from Lan Ling. Unfortunately, Lan Ling's avatar was gray and didn't flash. Wild female teacher and I am a superstar left him a message, but they just asked if he was there. Yang Ming didn't reply and turned off QQ directly. His mood was very bad now. Lan Ling didn't contact him. Chen Mengyan suddenly became strange. Yang Ming wasn't in the mood to chat online. The next morning, Yang Ming found Zhang Bin. He asked him to tell Chen Mengyan when he saw her in class. He asked her to call him. Zhang Bin was puzzled. Bro, why didn't you call her? I called. I called last night and this morning. She turned off her phone. Yang Ming shook his head helplessly. Ah. No way. Did you have a conflict? Asked Zhang Bin. I don't know. We didn't see each other yesterday. Was she angry because I didn't take the initiative to look for her? Yang Ming frowned. It turned out that there were times when they didn't see each other for a day. Chen Mengyan shouldn't be the kind of girl who likes to throw tantrums, right? Well, I will ask for you. Zhang Bin nodded and agreed. But bro, don't blame me for not reminding you. Women, especially women like sister-in-law, you should eat her up as soon as possible. Otherwise, it will be easy to have a problem. Take my personal experience as an example. Look at Zhao Cece. She was very calm to me before, right? Since we did it yesterday, she stuck to me. She even sent me a text to have breakfast with her. As he was talking, Zhang Bin's phone rang. Zhang Bin glanced at it and smiled at Yang Ming. Look, it's another call. Yang Ming shook his head. He felt that Chen Mengyan wasn't a casual girl. He didn't want to force her too much, so there was no further progress. Maybe Lan Ling made up for Yang Ming's needs in some aspects, so he slowed down the speed of eating Chen Mengyan. Yang Ming's computer science department had an experiment class this morning. He had to go to the physics laboratory to do experiments. It was a class where he could choose not to go. He just had to submit the experiment report at the end. Yang Ming's mood wasn't very good, so he didn't go. However, it gave Sun Jiwei an opportunity to make a fuss. For a long time, Sun Jiwei had been waiting for an opportunity to trouble Yang Ming. He had already asked someone to investigate Yang Ming's identity. Before the investigation was done, he couldn't defend Yang Ming too much. But it was still okay to use the class monitor's identity to find some trouble. It was reasonable to say that college students generally had a few roll calls at the beginning of the class. After that, the class monitor would take the roll call. The class monitor generally didn't want to offend students, so he turned a blind eye to students who skipped class. He rarely reported to the teacher. But Sun Jiwei was different. When he saw that Yang Ming didn't come to the experiment class today, he was suddenly happy. Ha, you brat, just wait to be scolded. So, when the experiment teacher asked the class monitor to count the number of people and asked who didn't come to class, Sun Jiwei immediately said, Yang Ming didn't come. Zhou Jiejia glanced at the class monitor of Class 2 with contempt. She was the assistant class monitor of Class 1. Someone in her class didn't come, but she and the class monitor didn't report it. You're tuning in to the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.